those types of groupings just for the vocabulary. But again,
Hi,
like,
everybody.
I think it was OC or other
We
DM
haven't
pointed
started yet,
out
but
that
we're
like
talking about
monks
the
are a warrior
new
class,
play
so like
test
potentially they haven't fleshed those out yet, but
edits to
potentially
5e.
like if that involves
Expert
gaining
classes
things
and
like,
whatnot that came
you
out
know,
recently.
expert classes
We're
all
gonna be
get
using some of these.
expertise. What do all the warrior classes get? If it's like, for example, battle maneuvers, now monks just get those for free. That's terrifying.
Well, I'm sure monks will just be real balanced, so.
Yeah.
Built
But
a
it's
monk with
like,
maneuvers, and I'm
Yes, no, I
curious
know
how
you
that
do.
would look.
Monk maneuvers,
Yeah.
let's go.
I mean, that's
Monk
all
maneuvers, I want
basically
to.
just speculation at this point until.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's I guess
Next
I'm
month.
also personally I feel like I just do not like the classification title of priest. I'm just like, really? That's the best you could do? Like, I'm sorry. My cleric and my other party is
Hey,
the
Wolfie.
opposite of a priest. The priest is her twin brother who stayed at home at the temple and did not go adventuring. Like, so it's just one of those weird verbiage things that I'm just like,
I mean, the priest is
This
just
just
a
sounds
class
so
archetype.
weird.
It's not a character
yeah, the
archetype.
druids are also under that, so I'm just like, this is just
Yes,
weird. Why is
because
this the best title we could think of?
it's playing off of the MMO priest character type in that it's the supportive healer class.
So call them support class.
That's not
2
matching
MMO.
everything else.
Yeah, that's like 2 MMO.
Well,
Monk.
one kind
That
of
doesn't have the
like,
fantasy
Monk
of
maneuvers.
the word.
and
I
because
feel
like
I don't know. To me, priest is just like, I'm now just like picturing like, was it Andrews, whatever his name is from Helsing, and I'm like, is this what we all are now?
Oh God, I hope not.
I have a
Oh
specific
fuck.
mental image that
That is literally what.
Oh
when
my god.
When I read priests, that is what pops in my head, and I'm like,
That is an interesting thing to pop into your head.
Yeah, right?
Oh yeah.
Fucking
One reason why
Anderson.
I'm like, why this word? This just doesn't sit right. I can't think of a better one really, but
I don't like this one.
this one just sounds really holier than thou, high and mighty, weird, and you know, throwing crucifixes on people.
Oh,
It's just weird
Oh my God.
terminology.
No, someone has to have made Alexander Anderson in D&D at one point or another. Now I want to know whether
I'm
they did all
sure
that.
it exists.
Gosh, cosplaying
I am
Helsing is one of the most
sleepy.
interesting experiences at a convention I've ever had. Especially my very first Otakon convention, so that was an experience.
Yeah, I
Then
was
there's
gonna do
the-
that, but
And
I'm
there's
so excited about cosplaying later this month, guys.
then there's
Making
the
something
couple
for the
of
first
cosplayers
time
who are,
in
like problematic.
years.
I'm avoiding cosplaying at fucking TwitchCon. It's gonna be too warm.
Right. We're gonna be suffering because of what we're wearing. Did I show you guys the masks yet? Because they look so good.
Brendan, I have a question also
I'm sending
Okay.
it.
for clarification. So the D20 tests, you pulled over the when you roll a 1, you get heroic inspiration. Does that mean we are
Yes.
ignoring the inspiration that is gained for a 20?
Yes, because
Okay.
that's not the D20 tests rule that we're using.
Okay. Well, because that's why I was clarifying, because both of those rules exist, and I wasn't sure if it was
They
missed or
don't
if it was
exist.
Yeah.
The next rule summary
Huh?
invalidates the previous.
I thought they were from
So-
the same one.
No, they're from different ones. The last one was, hey, when you roll a 20, you get inspiration. This one is, when you roll a 1, you get inspiration.
Okay, so maybe that's my understanding then, is unless it specifically says this replaces the other rule, I thought they supplemented each other.
If they're
It's
the
not
same
cumulative.
rule heading, yeah. If they're same rule heading, whatever is under the heading
So,
replaces it.
How it works
Okay.
is, like,
Play
okay,
test
so there's been 2 releases so far. There was the Origin release, and now there's the Expert Classes release.
Yeah, that I thought was just basically a continuation, except where it explicitly stated this is rewriting the rules in the other one.
What
Is that
happens
not
is, if you're you can play test and you can play with anything. But the
Yeah.
model is that when the next release comes out, you use the rules glossary of whatever the current release is, and you don't use the rules glossary of the previous one.
Okay.
And so that's where they define the D20 test, or they specify this or that feed or whatever. And so
Okay.
that's like the
I mean,
the
yeah,
origin.
I was just asking for the clarification of if we were using both or just the one, but okay. That's interesting.
Just the ones that's in the Google Doc.
When it says heroic inspiration, is that just like
It's the new
basically
term
like
for
DM
DM
That's
inspiration?
advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
just didn't
that.
copy.
Yeah,
A way to
because
get
it's-
it. A way to get inspiration from
Yeah.
failure. I like
Basically,
that.
the DM, I think, can still give it out as usual, but also you can get it if you roll in at 1 to illustrate your character's resolve to do better next time.
No, I like that a lot.
Resolve to
'cause
get good.
Yeah.
having had
Mhm.
sessions of rolling multiple ones.
Mhm. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, it doesn't apply if you like get to re-roll and you don't have to use the one, but if like it's if the roll that is used is a 1.
right. And if you have it and you get it, you can give it to someone else.
Because I know you can only have one at a time, so that's like if you already have one, you can then transfer a second one to somebody else.
Yeah, I should probably actually put heroic inspiration
You
into
should probably
the,
because
the
they did
Helpful.
change some of just the mechanics of how that works now.
right. Oh, that is disgusting.
Oh,
I hate
no.
copy pasting from a PDF. It's the worst.
Yeah, just paste that into.
It is the worst.
When I do that, I
That's
just paste it
when you
into
do like
the
Command Shift V
bar
or Control
first.
Shift V, and you get rid of all that formatting.
I paste
Although
into
if
the
it's
URL
spaces,
bar to do the same thing and then just copy it from there.
if it's spaces, it might not do that. Yeah, I've definitely. Ugh.
Uh,
Why are PDFs weird?
So I opened up the PDF and Adobe's like, here, let me throw up all these pop-ups to help you and show you how to click and do a search. I'm like, no.
It's
But
like
when I
Do
click
not
on the
want.
every time I open Google Classroom and I'm just trying to post an assignment and it's like, here, did you know you? And I'm like, yes, I have used you since COVID. Go away, please, and let me post my assignment. Yeah.
Hold on, if we can do it.
It's
we can
like
do it.
Clippy all over again.
There you go.
Oh. Thanks.
Also, my dice roll really well, and I'm excited about them.
Yay!
Your new ones?
Are you using them?
No, the ones I made. No, I'm not using them. But I have done a number of test rolls, and I like
Yeah.
them.
That's exciting.
One
I
of
was
the
copying pasting from this document and it was working just fine with it.
How that
I don't know
goes.
what happened.
Document says, fuck you.
The internet happened.
Oh my god. It's just struggling. Can't you just right click and paste without formatting?
I thought that's the default setting that I have in Google. That's the default setting I have in my work content management system at work to prevent this exact same bullshit from happening.
I mean,
Sounds about right.
anytime I've ever used Google that I didn't know you could even change the default. I've always had to do Command Shift V for that, so.
Yeah,
Or
it didn't
basically
like
the
it.
right click. Yeah. I didn't know there was a way to change what it did by default, but.
Because apparently this is technically not formatting, it's just spacing.
Yeah, that's
no,
what-
those
if it's spaces that
returns
doesn't actually
don't
help,
work.
does it?
Yeah.
Which is like so
Okay.
weird because it's like where are these spaces coming from?
Right. So I haven't changed the guidance cantrip yet, but
I have very mixed feelings about that.
I imagine a
change.
lot of people have very mixed feelings
I
about
haven't
it.
looked
But
at what it does. What is
It's
it
not
you
is-
can only
spammable
benefit
anymore.
from it once per
Yeah.
day.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
So
And
once
you
push
can
it on somebody,
only
But
you can
use
pass it
also,
on 'em
it
again.
is a 30-foot range instead of touch, and
Yeah.
you can use it as a reaction.
You have
You
to
can
use it as a
only
reaction. It's
use it
only
as a
yes.
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only reaction that's a little annoying. And yeah, I'm like, it is
Yeah,
a
but that
D4.
reactions
It's
don't
a
matter.
cantrip. Like, you should be able to use it more than
Reactions
once on a
don't matter
person.
out of combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
Well, I mean, it can
it's
matter.
it's
I mean,
the
it can matter if you see something happening, you could cast it out of combat if, like, maybe. But
It's
guidance is
it's
usually cast
used
out of combat. So
it's used after the fact if
Yeah.
someone fails,
But I'd say the
rather
fact that it
than in
uses a
advance.
reaction only matters in combat.
Right,
Otherwise, it's just kind of
fair.
you failed here, have a D4.
Yeah.
But most
it's-
people wouldn't spend an entire game round on casting guidance.
Yeah.
So the
No.
fact that in combat it can be used as a reaction
Yeah.
It makes it
is a big
I mean,
deal.
yeah.
I feel
usable in
I feel
combat.
like it lets
gives
it
it
do
utility.
more than it did before and limits the spammability of it.
I feel like
100%.
that's just really what feels bad is the fact that it's a cantrip that essentially has limited uses.
Yeah, that
Well, it
feels like it should
also-
be a cantrip.
Also, it's a cantrip.
It has limited uses
Yeah.
on creatures, but you can still use it on an infinite number of
Right.
creatures per day.
A cantrip
Yeah, but
is
like,
not something that is from a power level is not something that's like, okay, everybody, you get plus 1d4 to every single roll you make.
no. Well, I feel like again, it's for those of us who don't normally spam it, it feels punishing.
I don't think so. I think it is
You play a spellcaster who likes being able to help their friends out when they have to make a bunch of skill checks in a row over the course of a day in things like
that
Strixhaven.
sounds like you're spamming it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about things like Strixhaven, where it's like, well, in the morning we have a test, but then in the afternoon we have to go through the swamp and fight a creature, and so it's
Right,
like,
but
can I use it on the
now-
test, and then maybe also later
Yes,
on in the day
But
in
in
the
the
swamp.
case of that, now you don't have to cast it unless they need it.
Yeah, but what if they need it both times, and then you're like, well, can't help you now.
Well, you already
Yeah.
used it the first time.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
But also with things like that, and now it makes the decision of using it more important. And if it also
Which means I'll
becomes
never
less
cast
of
it.
it becomes
Yeah.
less of a, well, why don't you take guidance? Everyone should take guidance. It's a default
No.
spell that everyone should always take.
No,
Because
it's
it,
not.
you know,
As
Sorry.
someone
So-
who doesn't play a character that has guidance right now,
Yeah.
I am partially with Bess on this, not because
Yeah.
I'm actually bothered by it in like basic conceptual
But
concept,
You
but because that choice would stress me so
Yes.
much the fuck out that I would
I-
just never use it because I'd be
Yes.
stressed out about needing it later. Like
I am-
it is
I am
an
right
anxiety
there,
trigger,
yep.
not a I
Yeah.
don't like I
Yeah.
conceptually don't like this trigger.
It's
Oh.
the mentality of all of those health potions in video games that you never use that last one because what if you need it?
I mean,
I've also at least
I
found
only
that
have at least
you
one
still
left.
use
Never
potions
use
in
it.
D&D combat.
it's partially up to the DM
it-
whether it gets
it's-
spammed or not, because I think people should be like, is this something I can use guidance on? The DM could say yes or no, whether like
Yeah.
you had time to think about this, or whether in the moment
Right.
you would
Yeah.
not have had time to ask your
Well, yeah,
god.
I feel like that's how like
I
being somebody
mean,
who's
just
played
watch
multiple
Critical Role
characters
when
with
they
it.
realize
Like
what they can get, the mileage they can
I'm
get.
absolutely not
Guidance.
saying I'm absolutely not saying that people don't spam guidance.
Oh,
and that
yeah,
that's
no.
sometimes
They
a
do.
problem.
I've at least seen it done right. Like in my Wednesday game, we have a character that uses guidance, but always asks the DM whether guidance would have been workable in the situation,
Yeah.
and they either get a yes or no.
Well, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like that's why it's not a huge change for me, because guidance is almost always used after the fact.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I'm
see,
just
no.
no, yeah, I usually see it anyway, but
I would say 4/5 of the time it's used after the fact.
Oh yeah,
I'm,
we never see it used in our game. Like he has to ask whether he can use it before the roll.
Yeah.
yeah, I've mostly
that's-
only seen it used before the roll, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that from a perspective of someone who that specific sort of thing would make
Yeah.
me not use it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't like that change because it would stress me out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
it-
it's not a I don't think the change in some concept is good. It's a I
Mhm.
wonder if a better choice would be like make this a leveled spell or something.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
You're
called
limited in
Bless.
how you're limited in how often you can use
Yeah.
it. Well, no, I mean, yeah, bless is multiple players, but it's characters, but it's concentration.
Guidance
And
was
it's
too.
a little
but-
different. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just
I guess
Yeah.
the question is
No
why
rebarbs.
not use bless
Yeah.
then? Like
Yeah.
who would
no,
even take guidance now
really,
instead of
I
using
feel
bless?
like would not take guidance, and I would just take bless and use that a lot more. Yeah.
Well,
I
make
mean,
it a
yeah, I'm
make
not
it,
saying it can be
make it a
improved, but I feel like it is not as bad as people are making it out to be.
make it a reaction, which is different from bless,
Mm-hmm.
and make it a
Yeah.
leveled spell, or maybe make it a leveled spell, one person reaction, and make it like a D6 instead of a D4, so it's
Yeah.
slightly better.
I feel
Or
like that's the
something
thing
like
is
that.
like
Yeah.
the D4. If you roll a 1 and it does nothing, you still can't cast it on that person again later in the day, and that is, I feel like, yeah, it's. I'm like, it's a D4.
That's the case with any die boost.
But no, I'm
They
just,
aren't all
Can we
once
play
a
some
day spells.
D&D?
Yeah.
Yes, no, I feel like that's why I have very mixed
Everyone's
feelings
getting
on
really
guidance,
angry
so.
about rules that we're not even using.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
mean,
if
that's why I don't
angry.
know why you guys keep.
I think.
It's
I
not
think
like these apply.
excited.
It's more
We
those
live
of
in a
us
society.
who don't abuse these things are frustrated with rules, and all of the justifications
You're
of why
frustrated
rules
with
are good are
potential
because
rules.
of people spamming them. So it's just a conflict of like, yeah, but the frustration doesn't apply to people that don't abuse the rules.
issue that came up, and so people are
Yeah.
having a discussion about their various feelings about that.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I'm not saying that it's a bad discussion. I just
I don't
want
know.
to play some D&D.
Right. Like it's good to rein and bring everybody in. Sometimes I pulled up the stream at the same time just to have it in the background. All of a sudden, I had like my own voice like 3 seconds behind talking
Oh.
at me, and it was
Yeah, that's
really
why you mute.
disorienting.
Yeah, mute the
Yeah.
site.
I was also letting it run just to sort of pad out time until we get the cleric,
Mm.
because we
The
might
cleric
need
is
him to
picking
cast
up-
guidance.
The cleric is picking up food for me on her way home because food didn't happen.
So basically now
Okay.
I thought like this is interesting. At least we're having discussion to something that people
Mhm.
can listen to, so
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, internet.
last we left off, everyone was gathering at home, having wrapped up their business, planning a trip back to the Shadowfell via Phandalin. Leah has been MIA for a bit of time.
Founder.
But
Where are you, founder?
where you did find her, get a little bit of insight into why she's been sequestering herself deep into the woods. You all noticed a caravan of a few folk leaving home, going off to explore the rest of the Menagerie Coast. But I believe you were gathering together specifically to group up and leave town. That's where we left off last time.
I mean, I think somebody had communicated with Leah that
Yes, we
she
had.
was making her way back there.
We had
I forget
kept
how long
telling
it was going to be,
you.
but yeah. Did we actually know how we were going to get anywhere? Did we figure that out?
We have
I
Hegan
think
who
there's
can teleport us.
To
that's the
Shadowfell?
general
To
assumption.
Phandalin, anyway.
Oh, to Phandalin, and then from Phandalin, we're going to the Shadowfell because
Okay. I
We're
couldn't
going to
remember
do
that.
something potentially very stupid.
Oh, right.
Elias.
Yeah. That.
Never done that before.
Oh my god.
Elias did talk to the Raven Queen, and the Raven Queen was cryptic, but basically said, I think you know where you should where you need to go. And so,
Thanks, sis. Do you enjoy the like they say you called me up for this? Like, why don't you ask your new goddess?
Yeah. I think the matron of ravens might have more things to be concerned about than a little bit of jealousy over
No.
Elias's new patron.
I just think it's hilarious to think about.
For sure. Did somebody?
Okay, so I did not know about that, so I'm glad to hear that that happened.
Kristen's internet took a shit as soon as we started playing.
Oh no.
All right. So Velis is on a walk.
I guess.
That-
I mean, I'm not sure
Leaving
what
the
more we're
trees.
waiting for
Yeah,
before
we
we
sort of
leave.
had our conversations. I think
Yeah.
the next thing we were gonna do is like maybe
think we were just-
once Leah was around and like assuming it was a reasonable time of day.
Well, I assumed, we let Leah know, and then we took a rest, and we were assuming it was the next
Yeah.
day, and she would be back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Haku, stop
So-
barking now.
Yeah, I mean, I know I basically said she would not be more than a day's travel away, so
Yeah.
I
So
would
she would
say,
be able
she
to.
would be back by morning at the very latest, like, or by
So if
that
there's
night or
a-
whatever. But yeah,
If there are anything specific, like if there's supplies or if there's things that you want to do or get or whatever before leaving, while Leah is on her way to the cottage, now would be the time to do it or get it. That being said, Gardner did leave.
Yeah, it's true.
But he did leave someone. Actually, I don't think he left anyone. I think he just left the door open. I think that's what did he say that? I don't know. That's in my
Oh, I'm
brain,
trying
so
to
he must have made
Oh,
an
there we
offhand
go.
comment about that.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Sorry.
Feel like he might have mentioned somebody, but Wirio wasn't present for that conversation, so I didn't make notes
You
on
weren't-
it.
Yeah.
So
mentioned
you weren't
what?
present.
Well, I just
I-
didn't write down something that Wirio wouldn't know.
Yeah, that was Pernelli talk
Right.
too.
Yeah, my brain is trying to remember since I missed the last part session too, so don't if I'd thought about it, I would have brought the VOD.
Gardner didn't leave the door open, but it is unlocked.
Well, what do we have at the
Little
moment?
note on the door. It just says "Take something, leave something."
Oh, nice. It's one of those little little libraries.
Right. So, is there anything that anyone wanted to take care of before
I
the
can't.
party finishes gathering and
Yeah.
ventures forth?
I
don't
can't
think
think of
so.
anything that Wirio would need that could be gotten in. Wirio would be looking for that we could gotten in home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If anyone wants
Not
anything from
much there.
Gardner, any spell components, any there'd be like incense or any.
He had some of that. Gardner was where we bought that ointment last time. Does he have any of that?
Has he left any of that?
That's a question.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I
Uh,
missed half of what we've talked about,
right.
so I'm sorry.
So, I would say your best guess is that since he is traveling and leaving home, things that would be good for curing diseases and poisons and healing would probably be something that he would bring with him.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to take something, leave something, and you needed some sort of plant-based component or material, his place would be the place to get it. But if not, we can advance time enough to where it is later in the day, and Leah makes
say-
her.
If anything, Pernell might have grabbed just something that might be used for like soap to restock on that kind of stuff. Last
yeah,
you had it
he's-
was the one
he-
from Gordon.
Oh, he's got like multiple like these like wooden plates with all of these natural soaps all stacked up into little soap pyramids like you see at farmers markets and stuff. He's got a
God's
whole
bless
array
thee,
of them,
Gardner.
different like scents and other things. But yeah,
Perfect.
some of them have like they're like ground up nuts or something, so it's like an abrasive.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Happy place attained. Now we can go.
Okay.
Pernell can go back in this to the Shadowfell as long as she has her soap.
Might be able to keep from being depressed that way.
All right. So when Leah gets back, you have the assembled group. Elias seems to be a little sleepy, a little monosyllabic, and not particularly responsive, but he's present, so to speak. I don't know if you wanted to do anything before traveling.
Oh, would once Leah's back, let her know the message passed along from that family that decided to go off.
What was that?
Letting Leah know about them, basically the message from the family that came by to basically say thank you and say goodbye, that they were heading off to be able to see.
Which family was that? I don't have
It was a Fearbolg.
I don't know what this was.
It was a Fearbolg family at the beginning of last session.
I don't know if it was a family so much as a
at least
few
a
of the
few.
people from home.
I thought it was a family. 'Cause I thought
It was a family.
Mhm.
Or, well,
It was people including a family.
Technically, everybody at home is
Right.
family, so
right.
If you're home, you're family.
Was it anybody Leah would have known in particular?
Gardner.
Yeah, including
Gardner. As a
Gardner
family?
included. No, he was tagging along because
Okay.
he wanted to. Gardner specifically wanted to leave home, and find some of his own plants and have his own little adventure. The other family, they just wanted to like go explore and kind of. I think their end destination, was like another forest on the other side of Wildemount, basically. But yeah, they were planning on just going out, just moving on, just because. I would imagine. Let's see. I mean, do you know them? Yes, I think most everyone in home knows everyone else.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Um,
were they notable or stand out as people she definitely knew well?
um,
They were specifically leaving a message for her.
they weren't someone that you knew well. One of them was was sort of like in the reserve guard that had gotten some basic training but wasn't like a frontline person. Mostly just like whatever the reserves might be, but with no activity. Even the scouts have been kind of going a little stir crazy. There was so the names don't necessarily ring a bell because you never really associated with them directly. You may have at one been around the one Bastion, but the others you weren't familiar with. As far as home, the one of them is probably the one who is most well known for his clothing. He's one of the more experienced like weavers
Oh,
in the town.
was this the one that made Pernell's outfit? Because yeah, she got an outfit at home. Like her current outfit was made at home.
Right. Yeah. But and then another one of the women was did a lot of the brewing, and I mean it's not like there's hops and wheat and whatnot to make ale, but whatever fermented beverages that they imbibed at home, she was one of the main producers of them. since everyone's kind of got names related to sort of what they do when translated into common. It's Weaver, Brewer, and then Bastion, and Minder. Crush Mother, basically. And a bunch of whole gaggle of kids to go with them all.
So
I mean, yeah, if Pernell relays that, Leah is visibly upset at that and just kind of under her breath, idiots, they're going to get themselves killed.
just gives her a look like that.
Calm does not equal safe. The people of home don't know the first thing about venturing out. There's a reason why my name is Pathfinder. It's because nobody else has ever bothered to leave. They have no idea. They're expecting a walk in the park.
Aren't you certain of that? It seemeth more like they were thanking you for opening new paths to them. Making this place safe.
By
So that they
making
could
this
leave.
place safe, there's still so much that they don't know the first thing about. That was never my intention, to lead people to believe that wandering was a safe choice.
Perhaps they doth not think it is entirely safe. But all
Then they
adventures
would have
begin with the
waited
first
for
step.
me to get back if they didn't think it was safe. They're not trained to fight these things unexpectedly. Maybe one or two of them. You've met Gardner. If they get
Indeed.
sprung upon by anything coming through these cracks, they're hopeless. Out of their home territory without home to help them? The support system here?
And I wish to keep
I
them in
have
a
no way to.
cage.
I don't know.
The
It's not
Pathfinder
a
wishes to keep
cage.
them.
It's not a cage. It is reality. It is. I would gladly show them how to actually track and hunt these things and navigate the forests so that they can notice these signs and choose a different path. The pathfinding itself is very different from protecting home.
You do not believe that the Wild Mother would look upon them the way she has looked upon you, to guide the path as well, outside of home.
It's not that simple.
No.
If that were the case, there would be no need for a place like home. We would go everywhere. And if they leave, who's to say who's going to leave next? And then home is left eventually unprotected entirely. Anyways, there's not much I can do now because they're gone, and I've no ways of tracking them down now. But I just pray that they do not find themselves in a situation that they can't get out of.
Yes. But perhaps you must have faith. She's like giving Leah a very confused and concerned look at all this.
It is strange. It is not like them to.
They hath not known anything else.
Abandon their stations.
They have not known anything else until now, Leomoira.
Exactly.
You helped to give them something different.
I gave them nothing.
You gave them less. You gave them less to worry about.
And that was my mistake then.
What is going on?
What is going on is simply the fact that the world is dangerous, and because it is quiet right now does not mean it suddenly became safe. It means we need to figure out why it has become so quiet. Evil doesn't just stop lurking around the corner because it gets bored.
No, certainly. And they had to live with that their entire lives.
Yes, so the fact that they're venturing out now is cause for alarm, because that means that they have abandoned the idea that evil is lurking around the corner.
When wouldst it be the correct time for them? When is all the evil gone?
it's not a matter of it being gone. It's a matter of being prepared and making sure that preparations are taken. Who's looking after the shop for Gardner? Who's there's so many things that home functions on such a balance. And now a chunk of that balance is gone. It's
You art not
not like them.
well versed in change, which I doth understand.
I feel like I had to fight for my title as it is. Did you know I was supposed to be the next caretaker?
No.
When I was younger, my role had been decided to be the next one to look over this place. But the current caretaker eventually saw my curiosity and my interest in what lay beyond. Perhaps my mother's disappearance has something to do with that. And she had the wisdom to seek further counsel from the Wild Mother, and that is, I guess, how I did eventually land upon my title. So maybe it's not so much I fought for it, but it was nobody's first inclination that a role as Pathfinder would even exist.
Perhaps not.
So for others to just suddenly leave is just very strange.
I
I've
was
always
to be able
been
to
kind
change.
of the odd one.
Again, you art certainly a pathfinder. Perhaps that is part of it. I understand that change is difficult. I am struggling with it now.
It's not that the change is difficult. It's that I don't understand their reasoning. And what you said, they took children with them?
'Tis no different from any other family we hath met along the road.
And how many of them were living happy lives?
We just come across I would assume we've come across, like, there was Baby Pumat Soul with that group, and then
He had a
there's been
group,
several.
I
I
don't
assume.
remember him.
There was a wandering tribe outside Gordon that kind of
That's true.
nomadly traveled up
Leah
and down.
would certainly have heard stories from Wiria about traveling with a caravan of
Yeah,
halflings.
Wiria's had plenty of
But-
experience
Yeah.
with that.
But again, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm just adding that
yeah,
in as another thing.
But again, it's the lives of the children of home are nothing like the lives of those who have grown up on the road. You learn, from what I can understand, entirely different ways of living, and
All those had to begin somewhere. It all started with one.
I worry that they don't know what they're actually walking into.
Perhaps not. Perhaps they do to some extent. Through the stories, through what they hath seen so far. What they hath
And
faced.
if something bad does happen to them, then who does that fall back on, other than the Pathfinder who should have been there to lead them?
You cannot follow each path.
No.
It's only show them. And yes.
But I can't show them if they leave without me, so that is why I'm now concerned, because there is nothing I can do to help them now.
Given what this village hath faced constantly for years, they mayst be more prepared than many.
There's too many differences.
You have not left until most recently.
Yes. But I slowly ventured out. I did not just set off one day and leave and never come back. I had been out patrolling, searching the perimeters, pushing more and more every day, and always coming back that night.
And didst thou share what you had
I mean,
learned?
reports, relays, but when I was learning, I did not know enough to be able to teach others how to foray into the unknown.
And yet you didst learn. And you brought that
Because
knowledge back to
it is
them
my
as the
role.
Pathfinder. Indeed. And they seemeth to have learned from you.
And foolishly abandoned their own roles in the process.
So, you aren't able to change your role, but not theirs.
I was a child, and I did not actually change it. I was set to be the caretaker until caretaker saw otherwise. I may have not been content, but I would have stayed in that place if that had been the title given to me. There's so much contradiction in calling yourself one thing and then abandoning it completely. Pathfinder is not the same as wanderer or just adventurer either. It is finding the path, not just stumbling blindly. And if they all are able to just go out, then there really is no need for a Pathfinder at all.
As kind of cancer head, is this what this is about? You aren't worried about your own identity through them.
No, it is.
If they do make
It's a-
their way,
There's a balance to these things that is now just seems to have been thrown to the wind by a few. Anyways, if we need to set out, we should do so quickly. And she will continue on and backing up whatever things she has.
gonna watch that a bit in silence and just kind of shake her head. She's really bad at explaining things, apparently. Kind of down about that. Very well.
Assume that conversation was just sort of happening out and about, not like in a private corner somewhere.
Yeah, no.
It was probably like in the middle of the cottage, so anyone who wanted to either make themselves scarce or like quietly sit and observe.
Purnell would probably hear in her head at the end of that. Leah is struggling a bit with things that have happened. But
No.
she is trying. And that's all she would hear, just in her head. It's not a message. This is like the telepathy, which Purnell would have experienced before, so she'd probably recognize it. Just a acknowledgement that yeah, that was rough, and Leah seems to be taking some things hard right now.
All right.
Say that Velas is probably outside because I feel like he would have cut into that conversation if he was present.
Yeah, Aiden's probably somewhere tapping his foot.
All right.
Yeah. The party gathers. And so we have Keegan driving, for lack of a better word. Aiden, Leah, Velas, Wuria, Purnell, and Elias. So 1 plus 6. Where are you going? Because you gotta have a very particular destination in mind when you do these sorts of things. Otherwise, you don't know where you might end up.
I know we were going to Phandalin.
Does Hegan ask where we actually want to teleport to?
Yeah.
Usually, yes.
Where you would say maybe the spot outside of Phandalin that we went to before?
Makes sense to me.
Teleporting
A
into
little
a
ways
town
east.
that is a bit of a Shadowfell hotspot seems like a bad idea of a place to appear.
Okay.
Okay.
But anyone else is free to chime in on that.
Anyone else have any particular input?
Seems to be the best choice. We at least know
Okay.
it shall not cause a teleportation issue. It hath not before.
All right. So you all gather together, and there isn't really anything that Hegan does when he activates the helm. There's a moment where you're all just sort of standing about, kind of looking at each other expectantly, and then the feeling of your stomach sort of dropping. As one moment you're in one location, and then in the next moment you're in a completely different location. Now, in this particular instance, you go from mid-morning in a temperate forest, still in the last vestiges of summer, with golden light coming through the canopy and the sounds of animals and birds and like colors of flowers and butterflies, to basically cold, drab fog. The ground is churned dirt beneath your feet for at least as far as you can see. The fog here is fairly thick. You can't see much past about 30 feet or so. The area around you is completely devoid of any vegetation, and other than the sounds of your own armor, clanking of bits of metal, the creaking of leather, it is preternaturally still and quiet.
Well, things certainly haven't gotten any better since we were last here.
I think we should stay together just in case. I mean,
Agreed.
trying to get into the
Indeed.
Shadowfell.
Separating
cool.
seems like a poor choice.
We don't want half of us to fall in and not the rest.
You have a vague sense of where the hill was that was east of Phandalin, on which the manor sat, and the underground complex where Yarno botched his ritual. But it is difficult, since there is no real clear sun in the sky, or any sort of landmarks. So if one of you would maybe like to take point and perhaps guide the party to where you think you need to go, can maybe make a wisdom survival check for me. Whoever would like to.
Everybody's afraid to.
Yeah,
I
we're
mean, I wasn't there,
happy to
so
help.
Right.
Maria's happy to help, but she suspects someone else is probably better
not
at this than she is.
great at it.
Yeah, it
We're
would
not
be
able to just teleport there?
We didn't teleport straight to the site
How?
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, we
You
didn't want to
teleported
immediately.
We teleported outside so we didn't land in the middle of Shadowfell fuckery.
So you
see it
teleported
coming.
about
I
a
mean,
quarter
if
to a half mile east, where you'd landed previously, east of the town, and the entire area is blanketed in a thick, obscuring fog with very little
I mean, if
vegetation.
that's the case, especially if it's like basically how do we get to the source of Shadowfell stuff, Leo will probably be able to
Yeah.
navigate
Okay.
that. Where is my?
Yeah. Take advantage.
Survival?
Yep, wisdom survival. You can both just roll. If you're just both gonna sort of tandem work on it.
Or should I take advantage because I have a +7?
However you would prefer to do that.
That is cocked, so that's
Would
not
take
good.
advantage because I think
Okay, so we got
it'll be more of an idea of like
natural 20.
Let's
suggestion.
fucking go.
Hey.
Thank you, advantage. I mean, the other one would have been a dirty 19, but yeah, natural 20 for a total of 27.
Fuck yeah.
So everyone starts looking about and like, wait, where did we land? Those of you who don't have any proficiency in survival, like you kind of turn around a couple of times and you have absolutely no idea where you are. And everyone's just sort of shuffling their feet until Leah just sort of like looks around, cocks her head, and is like, this way, and just straight starts walking into the fog.
While we walk, I'm gonna just open up my primeval awareness.
Sure. So it's a couple of minutes of unbroken, monotonous trudging through fog. And as you open your primeval awareness, yours is keyed into just aberrations, right?
Yes.
We have this conversation like every session, but yeah, completely empty. Empty as a himbo's head.
Damn.
Amazing.
Eventually, you do start coming across some of the more broken up terrain, a couple of pieces of like occasional, like a fence post listing off to one side, or like a wagon or something that's broken. And the fog is beginning to lessen a little bit as you get nearer to Phandalin proper. So by the time you reach the sort of edge of that large hillock, you probably have about like a good 100 feet of visibility or so before the fog becomes too thick of an obscuring mist. But Leah has led you basically almost as the raven might fly straight there. You can see it's more or less in the same state as when you were last here, with the exception of Aiden. It looks very different when you were last here. There were like
it's got fucked
people
up.
and a town and
Yeah.
things. Now it's all like spooky mist. There's like no animals and nothing. But yeah, it is like completely silent except for the noises that you're all making.
Too quiet here too. Same as back at home.
The woods that were here that used to obscure that hidden entrance in the base of the hill have all been clear cut. There's still a couple of stumps, but a lot of churned earth. Did you want to go in through the sort of that underground passage in the rock, or did you want to go around and go in from above through the ruins of the manor and the main?
Oh, there's like no debris or signs of anything from outside. I thought it was like getting huge and would explosion out of the house.
It was not an explosion of force, but of spectral energy. But if there was an explosion of stuff, it wouldn't be there wouldn't have been any stuff that would have come out of the underground passage. Other than like rocks or whatever. Yeah, but it's not like the hill is completely blasted open. Oh, she stepped away. But I would say you don't have to have supernatural senses that as you're near this hill, and you've approached the site of where the ritual had taken place and failed, um, there is just this weird sense of unease, just this something like in the back of your mind that just it's just something unsettling about this whole place that you can't quite put your finger on. But anyone who is particularly apt to keep an eye out uh, or pay attention to their surroundings, go ahead and make a wisdom perception check for me.
Huh?
Meow.
I'm pretty good at perception.
Ooh.
Never mind.
23.
30-20.
9.
Okay. Um, it's been so quiet that it's almost you can't even notice it at first, but there is this a far off sound of like wind. Like you don't feel wind, but you can almost hear what sounds like wind kind of blowing. It seems like it's the general direction of where the town is.
Does anyone else hear that?
What?
I do.
Do I? I'm not sure.
Roll a perception check, presumably.
As soon as anyone points it out, anyone who listens
becomes
and pays
obvious.
attention, yeah, it becomes like, oh wait, yeah, no, that does sound like some winds, like distant wind.
14.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess the
Probably
question
the
is,
rift.
what was that?
Probably the rift.
Well, the rift was down below the manor, right? Out of
Yeah.
character. And this is coming
Right.
towards the town.
Right. It was under the manor.
It could still have grown.
It's possible there's
I don't
multiple
know.
rifts, but
I mean,
If it grew, we'd be in it already.
I think
Would-
all we can do is
Mhm.
go
Would
see.
Leah know? Would a Shadowfell rift make something like a wind
I-
sound?
Um,
I mean, she's closed planar rifts before, like that's how she met
Right.
Broke, but
I mean, it
is that a
could.
normal thing.
This
Okay.
is coming from the direction we already traveled.
It's coming. So you
What?
came from the
What?
east.
Oh,
The sound
okay.
is coming from further west of
Oh,
the actual town.
Past the town.
in the direction of the town.
Okay.
Right.
Uh,
You're all a couple hundred feet
I was
here.
thinking
Why don't I pull
the other
up
way.
a Phandalin map?
I can send Brightwing to see if he can see anything. That seems the safest bet. Unless we
So
all want
back-
to go.
I feel like we're in it either way.
Hmm.
Whatever you want to do.
Having at
Well.
least some eyes ahead would not be a terrible idea.
I mean, we're not heading into the town proper, right? The explosion was here. This is the center of it.
Right. It's more a question of if we want to have any idea of what is causing that, or if we just want to head straight in and see if there's a rift down there that we can step through and go back to the Shadowfell.
I mean, with Hope We Come, I don't think we're going to find anything in the town because that's farther away than we are right now.
Send Brightwing. It's not going to take any extra time.
Where we'll do that. She'll ask Brightwing to go take a look.
Brightwing is subdued. When you pop him out, he's like, "Ooh, this place is creepy." But he
Indeed,
goes
yeah.
again anyways. So he flaps off, and a few moments later, he basically just sort of reports that it's the town. A lot of stuff is knocked down. It's like anything that may have been living in the town is all like vegetation is all withered up. And there's just this sort of strange like headwind almost. It's like there is a strange wind that blows through the town towards the manor.
Okay, it's blowing like west to east then, if it's going
Yeah.
towards the manor. Okay.
Right. Yeah, but the whole place looks abandoned and creepy.
Town is abandoned and creepy, but apparently there is a wind and it's blowing towards us. So
not too far from the center of town, there looks to be a wagon. It looks kind of out of place, like newer, if anything. But it's like upside down. It looks like it had been. So he describes his scene, and what you would interpret would be this may have been a wagon that was carrying like a bunch of things that was tossed like a child throwing a small toy. And so all of the things that may have been in this wagon were thrown and strewn across the ground, broken open, and the wagon crumpled up against the wall and crushed. That it's roughly between the Stonehill Inn and the Smithy. And that wasn't here last time all of you were here.
Yeah, I mean, Wario would pass that along and say it. Strange wagons are strange, but I don't know that it makes sense for us to head to town when we have a goal.
No, I think we need to go downstairs.
Wario will call Brightwing to come back.
Okay. Yeah. He comes back and immediately just sort of goes unseen. You can just kind of like hear the verbal muttering. Creepy, just cold, spooky, nothing to murder.
It'd be better if there was something to murder.
Always better when there's something to murder. What would you like to do? Scout it
Let's
out
go
the
into the
town.
breach.
It's spooky, windy.
We probably want to go check out the rift.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Should, yes, want to, no.
As with all things.
So the passageway, the underground passage under the hill, is sort of a narrow cleft into the rock, and you all have to sort of move single file, and in a couple of places, even like, especially for like Leah and Egan, kind of turn sideways a little bit, just because it gets particularly narrow. I'm just going to presume that someone produces a light source for anyone who is unable to see, or can everyone see?
Elias can't see.
Elias can't see. So Elias, is his lights up his mace.
One
And
of these days we're
he
gonna
may
get
actually be,
two goggles.
yeah.
Leah
And
can't
he,
see in the dark either, so.
Three
okay.
goggles.
So he's holding up his mace, and that's giving off enough light so that everyone can squeeze through the chasm. So there's still all of the remains of the battle on this map.
Please stop yelling.
The weird spectral energy that you had all seen is since gone. But as you progress further and eventually come into the cavern area, the light that Elias's mace is giving off is dimmed just a little bit by the darkness here. It seems to be not quite as bright. The walls and the passages here seem to be, so for those of you who can see into the dark, they all kind of seem to just end. The only exit in this cavern actually seems to be on the far end. Instead of the worked stone that was this sort of storage room up here at the top, it actually looks like a natural cavern, and it just sort of keeps on going. And as you enter this cavern proper, you can hear the sounds sort of long, like distant, coming from the far end of this cavern, of what sound like pickaxes hitting stone, that sort of rhythmic clanging, the sound of metal on stone, arrhythmically, as it sounds like maybe multiple pickaxes hitting stone.
That's new.
But
that is concerning.
Other than this cavern being roughly shaped similarly to the other, there isn't any similarities to the underground hideouts that you've encountered previously.
Does this feel like we've crossed into the Shadowfell? Just the atmosphere.
It feels it's hard to say because everything has kind of felt that way since you've arrived. But
I mean, this is an unnatural change in the terrain, so
it's a logical assumption, but
if anything, it feels as if this particular cavern is the nexus point. Like if you listen carefully, you can hear now the sound of that wind coming from the passage behind you, and the sound of pickaxes on stone coming from the caverns ahead of you.
Well, we go ahead carefully, I suppose.
I can take a look. I mean, not much can see me in this much dark.
If we are not dealing with, or what?
You said this sort of feels like that this cavern, like the cavern, like moving forward is the nexus point.
Yeah, it's like this is the transition.
Let me check something first, and she'll ask Brightwing to move through whatever that feels like as the transition. She would not be able to communicate with him if he leaves this plane, so she would tell him, if you lose contact with me, just stay there and wait.
Okay.
Out of sight.
Sure.
She doesn't want Velas to like walk into a different plane without them.
Right. Yeah, okay. So Brightwing goes on ahead, and you can hear him sort of in his very off-key humming of some song about it. It's like a sailor shanty, except it's like everything rhymes with murder.
Oh my god.
Oh, Brightwing.
But
An assassin
as you see
shanty.
him kind of like, yeah, you see him go down to the end of the cavern, and right about as he goes past what would be like this point, You can still see him. He's, but it's like he gets harder to see very quickly, and then you finally can't hear him at all, and you just kind of see him disappear into some shadow.
Oh,
I think we found the passage point.
Well, he
Think
hasn't
so?
disappeared though, so it should be safe to scout. As long
Well, he
as
did
everyone
disappear
stays calm.
eventually.
Yeah, like not too long after the sound of his song and like just cut off. He like it was like he was getting darker, and then at the same time you can't see him.
Ah, okay. I thought he was just harder to see.
It took a
I
minute,
did not.
but yeah.
I did not describe that accurately enough.
I'm also very tired.
It's fair. Perhaps we move forward in carefully and either all together or in small groups so no one is totally alone.
No, I think we cross together, and then once we're across, should be fine to take a look.
Yeah.
I'm all for moving forward.
Yes.
So as a group, you cross the cavern and move through the shadow, and this does feel familiar. The temperature drops significantly, quickly, and there goes from being sort of a general sense of quiet and unease, to there being sort of like an oppressive shadow over everything. And you're all very sure that you've returned to the Shadowfell.
I actually want to look at Purnell and just to gauge how she's handling it because she had a bad time here.
yeah. Just as soon as things get cold, Jesus basically closes her eyes for just a moment. It's like one of those like stealing yourself for a moment and then realizing you should not close your eyes, and then just quickly opens them again and just immediately is very tense. She's had her blades out the entire time though.
Kind of make my way over toward her. You all right?
That shall be fine.
You got your back.
Man, I've
Okay.
had nothing but happy cheery for the last few weeks. This is nostalgic.
Yeah, we missed you too. Do we still hear the pickaxes?
Oh yeah, and in fact, they're getting louder.
All right. I'm gonna take a look.
Once more to the breach.
I'm gonna turn
All right.
invisible without saying it.
Okay.
It's one of
Um,
those.
I'm going to go
So-
forward as well.
Velas typically, like when you're not paying attention to him, if you're ever in any place where it's dark and gloomy, he just sort of just constantly is disappearing from view. And so you're kind of used to it. But when Aiden suddenly disappears, any of you who are moderately observant would quickly clock that, like, oh wait, he disappeared, and then oh nope, there's footsteps following Velas.
We'll raise an
Would
Would
eyebrow.
that
at
be? Would
He
the
can barely
stealth be
notice
with
us.
advantage technically because darkness and visibility bullshit? It's such a weird mechanic.
Yeah, you're in the dark, and anything that would rely on dark vision to see you or whatever, you're invisible, which grants you advantage.
Cool. Which is a
I think
good
the
thing,
only
'cause
person
one of those was bad.
that can always see you is Hegan,
32.
because yeah, he can basically, and then probably also Aiden,
We're
because
in Aiden both because we have that weird.
you have
It's not dark
like
vision.
the
Yeah,
you have the
we have weird
full
vision,
like
guys.
the gamma slider on 100 sort of thing.
You do, but I
experience.
did roll a 32. Come
Oh yeah,
on.
I'm not saying we see you. I'm just saying like we can sometimes see you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a sneaky thing.
So as you step very quietly through darkened caves, and it's like, oh, this is taking me back. whether it's in the Shadowfell or the
Oh, hello.
Underdark. It's dark and spooky, and you're being sneaky. Oh, hello there. The the sound of the pickaxes gets louder, and eventually you find yourself quietly stepping through what appears to be a mine, which would sort of make sense when you hear what sounds like mining. And eventually, the darkness ahead of you gives way to sort of a very pale, slightly greenish tinged light. And when you turn a corner, the sort of narrow mine passage opens up, and you can see a number of ghostly figures. They are, at first glance, humanoid, but it might be difficult to tell exactly what kind because a lot of their features are sort of like rotten or falling away. Very Ghosts of the Men Under the Mountain from Return of the King kind of like they're ghostly and spectral. They're they're each picking at the walls, holding these spectral pickaxes. And you can see the glow isn't coming from them, but rather these veins of some mineral that run all through this cavern. And it has sort of this ethereal glow to it. It's very sort of white greenish glow. And it looks as if they're all mining this rock. And you can see someone, they come with like buckets and they're all moving very slowly. And every now and again, they just sort of like, some of them will stop and just, if anything, just kind of pause before almost like remembering to like continue to work.
Just saying to the brooch, ghost mine. Gonna see if they notice any of their surroundings. Pick up a rock and throw it at the wall, like 15 feet beside one of the ones in the distance to see if it reacts to the sound.
Not at all.
Good
Would
news
I-
is they don't seem to pay attention to anything.
You would probably be coming up behind Velas since you left almost as quickly as he did.
Yeah, I was gonna say with my archaeological background, where we're like familiar time spent in underground places, would I be able to identify what they're mining, or at least something that seems similar?
I would say you can make an intelligence check.
Yeah.
Intelligence Arcana.
Yeah.
But I would say your archaeological study led more towards like cultures and society and ruins and less about like mining of natural resources.
17.
So you don't recognize what it is, but considering it has this like strange ethereal glow, you're pretty sure this is not something that would be mineable outside of the Shadowfell.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect so.
It's like spooky Shadowfell ghost iron.
Huh.
I think it's safe to come up. They don't seem to react to noise. Crowd of us coming through, not so sure, but I don't see much other choice for getting out of here, so
Let's try and find a way above ground. See if we can follow where they're dumping.
Is Aiden actually like beside Velas?
Probably.
Did he just say that?
That's hilarious.
He's just like, where the fuck did you come from?
Right here.
And he's still in
Or
there.
Disembodied
there.
Aiden voice.
Yeah, just disembodied Aiden voice.
I take back what I said about missing this.
There's nothing to miss. This is new.
Yeah.
Is this how you feel like?
Kind of, I guess. Maybe? When did this happen?
Gone.
Fuck you too! Just gonna lean against the wall and wait for everyone else to catch up and just kind of like into the distance toward Aiden, wherever he may be.
Okay. So the coast is clear, and the remainder of you trudge up the cave passage. The rest of the group is significantly louder than Velis and Aiden, but the miners don't seem to make any move, don't seem to even notice or acknowledge anyone's presence.
Aiden fucked off.
Is Aiden around? Because Aiden can see him.
He would have moved up further, but he's
Okay.
probably not out of sight
Well, but he's
Gotcha.
visible.
for
so
Hegan.
For Hegan.
for
Right.
Hegan.
Gonna look at Hegan for confirmation of that, and then step forward.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not too difficult to follow one of those miners that's carrying these buckets. Some of the miners, some of these spectral ghosts are more spectral than others, and some of them seem to be more present. Like there's like more of them that is disappeared or missing or not visually there. But as you go through the mine, you would notice the more you watch or continue to watch any one of these miners, the more cohesive they become. So as you follow this one particular ghost miner who seems to be making turns left, right, up, but you get the general sense that you're constantly moving up higher, they're becoming sort of more and more solid and less see-through as you continue to progress. Eventually you emerge, and it's at first glance it's like, oh, we're just back outside. It's Fandolin. But when you look closer, it's like Fandolin, but not. It's like it's like you can see like some of the general layout, but there's far more buildings, all of which are in ruin, even more so than the actual natural, not spooky shadow.
Shut up!
Fandolin. Well, I mean, okay, but then it's going to be a lot harder to explain what you're saying.
She's been screaming at my door for 2 hours, so she's
Mhm.
kind of just trying all of my patience. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I understand that it wasn't actually directed at me.
Yeah,
Um,
she's been screaming at the door and tearing up the carpet.
Oof. Ooh,
Oh
yeah, that's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tantrum.
Yeah, so it's like Fandolin, but not. It's spooky. The miner progresses. Do you continue following it? It looks like you've kind of emerged on top of what would be that hill outside Fandolin. And it's making
If we're outside, I'm not as interested in following him.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think the goal was just to follow him to figure out how to get out.
Okay. It goes down into Fandolin proper. And as you all begin to kind of like look around and stop paying attention to it, it gets a little bit more translucent, a little bit more spectral. And eventually disappears beyond view. But yeah,
Well,
this seems to be a version of sorts of Phandalin. The sky is dark and spooky. You can see sort of an unidentifiable, sourceless, light on the horizon that's not exactly the moon or a sunset or a sunrise. If anything, dark gray clouds on a darker gray sky. It's definitively the Shadowfell.
Well, people who get more or less solid, depending on how much you pay attention to them, is new, but kind of on brand for the Shadowfell, I think.
I will just drop invisibility right behind Velis. And it's like, wow, that was easier and less painful than I thought it would be.
You say that now.
Not even going to. Nope.
Perhaps not test fate, especially
I'm-
in her
No.
domain.
Hmm.
I mean, we got in. That was the hard part.
Where
Or-
it just like starts laughing at the idea that the hard part was just getting into the Shadowfell.
I'm gonna
The most questionable part.
pop some primeval
All of
awareness.
this is always questionable.
Sure. There's a couple of bits. Small. This is sort of like what you're used to. Like if you're not near like a lair or something like that, like there's always that inevitable something somewhere. That's what you get here.
At least it's not completely empty here.
This question is, where do we go from here?
That's on you. We're here for you.
Yeah. I mean, you all can sit on your asses for 10 minutes if you want to let me try.
I mean, we don't have any particular direction without it, so
Yeah, we don't
Well,
have
I
much to
mean,
go
we
on.
ran into them back towards Tiana, which is a hell of a lot farther from here than it was from home, so.
Right, well,
And a scry is not a bad idea if it can give us a direction.
do what you need to do. And she's going to basically take up a stance of keeping guard on the current area.
Aiden is going to commence casting a spell.
Yep.
Ritually.
No.
No?
No, it just takes 10 minutes.
Oh, it just takes 10 minutes to cast. Gotcha. Okay. Those of you who are choosing to observantly stand guard, please make a wisdom perception check for me.
Oh, that's good.
It'd help if I had my dice out.
17.
25.
22,
perception.
I think.
Yes,
Dirty
so,
20.
28.
All right. A couple of minutes go by, and it's just Aiden having spell time.
It becomes cyclical.
But what you begin to notice is the miners that sort of seem to come and go carrying these rocks back and forth in buckets. One or two go by in a couple of minutes as Aiden's prepping his spell. And one of them slows down a little bit, like pauses as it's walking, and sort of looks around. It doesn't seem to notice any of you. It's like it's almost as if you're invisible. You made a sound and it kind of like turned in that general direction. It doesn't seem to be able to recognize or see you at all. And it just kind of continues on. But when there's probably what you would guess like 2 or 3 that are walking back and forth to the mine. And as the minutes tick by, you get the distinct impression that your presence is becoming slowly more and more visible to them, or they're becoming more cognizant of your presence.
We should move. Do this somewhere else.
Oh, and now he's back.
At this point, he's probably a couple of minutes away from finishing the spell.
I just
so
go over and
you can
shake his
interrupt
shoulder.
him.
Yeah. We need to move. Do this somewhere else.
What?
They're noticing us.
Well, I mean, you were the guys who said it was fine just doing it right here.
Well, not so fine now.
It seems the same way that they became more solid the longer we followed them. We become more noticeable the longer we're here.
What is noticing us? Just the miners?
The
Mhm.
the miners going by.
More and more of them.
Are they necessarily hostile?
Do we want to take that chance?
I don't know. How
I
much
don't
does
think
Aiden
we
want to
want
start
people
all over with
asking
the spell?
questions while I'm sitting here meditating.
I mean, you're still continuing with the spell. You can do that and maintain that concentration while this conversation is happening around you. So it's your choice whether you want to finish, or stop and you all go somewhere else.
Does it seem like they're gonna like before? Given that we have a sense of how long scrying takes, because we've seen it before. Do we get a sense of?
I've seen Aiden do it.
Well, but I mean, I'm just where you would extrapolate.
I don't think that you would have enough context to understand the ghostly rate of recognition as a mathematical concept in contrast to the Aiden spell timer.
Fair enough.
Look,
Yeah.
it's not going to take that long to get out of here. I think we just move out of their sight.
Or what about an invisibility spell? Just long enough for him to finish.
On all of us?
On enough, the others can hide.
Sure. Wiria would probably cast if that is what we're gonna do. I can certainly do that. And she'd look at the group and she'd probably like assume that she and Velis can hide pretty damn effectively. Aiden's busy, so she doesn't want, but he's casting.
Right.
That's the tricky part. He's casting.
Yeah,
you
but
can't make him invisible.
I mean,
oh,
I could greater invisibility him. Yes, I could. I could make him invisible.
You could greater invisibility him, but you could not invisibility him.
Fuck
Yes.
it, let's just move.
Okay.
Okay. So the hill that you're on has a mine entrance and a number of leafless, large, gnarled, spooky type Shadowfell vibe trees all about the plateau. It's large. You could so imagine a much more spooky version of. Oh wait, no, hold on, wrong Phandalin.
Wrong Phandalin.
Wrong Phandalin. So a much spookier version of what you're seeing here with far more buildings, and no large manor up at the top. So you could very easily just move to another place on top of the hill, and be out more or less of line of sight of the passing miners. Alternatively, as you kind of look around, the immediate vicinity geographically does seem similar to what is on the other side. However, you notice that there are, and that's a cat. There are very steep, sharp mountains in different places, and maybe what looks to be like a very large body of water off in another direction. So this is definitively not exactly where you were, but it's reminiscent. And so you can see the environment of the town. There are spectral figures moving about through the town itself, but at first glance, you go in any direction, and there doesn't seem to be glowy ghost miners in those directions. So you could readily do either of those options.
Let's do the former then.
Yeah.
Maria has no preference. Wherever anyone else wants to go, she'll go.
Okay. So where are you going?
Purnell said, "Let's do the former." So
The first.
Okay,
The
so you're
first
gonna
option.
cast it in greater invisibility. He's gonna finish his spell, and the
Oh,
rest of you are
No,
gonna
no,
hide?
the first option you gave us for places to go. I thought you were saying like there were.
Yeah, you said there were
Options.
Somewhere
two
else
ways
on the
to go.
hill,
you said there were
basically.
a couple options for
Okay.
where we would go.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you're all going to hide, and Aiden is going to continue where he was at casting his spell.
No, we're going
No.
somewhere
We're all
else.
going somewhere
Yeah.
else.
We're going to the
Gotcha,
first place you
okay.
told us where
Yeah.
where is an option to go.
Okay. So, Aiden, you're going to have disadvantage on the dexterity stealth check because you're not focused that much on hiding. But all the rest of you can go ahead and make dexterity stealth checks to make
I mean,
yourself
I
Maybe-
can slap invisibility on myself while I'm casting.
greater invisibility.
No.
Yeah, because
Okay,
it
then as
breaks
soon
the
as you start
invisibility when
casting
you start.
scrying, it breaks invisibility.
Okay, but does it cast at the start of the cast or break
I
at
mean,
the start
As
or
soon
the
as you
end of the
start
cast?
casting a spell, it breaks invisibility.
Okay.
So,
Natural 20 to 25.
okay.
Natural 20, so 35.
Natural 19 for 19.
28.
My
That
first
was
roll was a
almost
natural
really bad.
1, but I'm a
Halfling.
Fuck yeah,
19.
halflings.
So-
that's a 17
Do you would you
straight.
High five, Kia.
would you prefer to keep the one and get heroic inspiration?
Oh no, I am re-rolling it for a 17 plus 14, which
Jeez.
Okay.
is a 31.
I just
Okay.
like my 19 plus 0 is 19. Yay. But
Right.
I'm impressed
Yeah.
I rolled a 19.
So like everyone's okay, you all hide and you're all just sort of trying to be quiet, and for a moment Maria almost starts like humming a song, and then she's like, wait, no, don't do that. And she catches herself quickly. Okay. 10 minutes
normally
go
during
by.
serum sessions, they would have some kind of like herbal thing burning
Uh-huh.
and kind of assist with that. This is just Aiden talking to the group. It's like, I don't suppose any of you got any of that.
Incense, like, you mean?
Incense? Oh, yeah, for sure. Elias would definitely
Elias
have
has a shit ton.
I mean, where has some
variety.
skills for find familiar if people want incense.
I'm
I have
fucking
a
with you.
tinderbox, that's
I'm
all.
going to cast scrying.
Okay. You all move off to the side, hide behind some of the large spooky Shadowfell trees, and the ghost miners that are walking back and forth to the mine, Warcraft style, do not take any notice of you
I'd
anymore.
like to think that after that like thing, Purnell is just like, I learned this from Velis, and gives him the bird.
Yay.
I realize I don't have my dice.
I'm proud of you.
So
I'm such a
who are
good
you-
Quiet and
influence.
finish thy ritual.
who are you casting scrying on?
On mommy!
Okay.
Right on, Bobby!
God.
Okay. And what is the Nevermind?
Hmm?
Okay. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you're almost disappointed that it didn't work, just like all of the previous times. but then you open your eyes again and you find yourself in um it looks like a rundown ramshackle building. um you can see, I mean, this is undoubtedly your mother. um her fine elven features are unmistakable, but her skin has a very pale pallor to it. She is dressed instead of the sort of simple, comfortable, um, and functional attire that you typically saw her in when she was working the inns and taverns. She is dressed in ornate, detailed plate armor. Um, she's got a very large sword with its tip resting in the wood of the floor beneath her, and a very elaborate helm kind of clutched under the other arm. And she seems to be standing guard, standing watch, but just eerily still. The other people in the room consists of a woman in fine clothing, uh, wearing a long sort of it's like it's almost as if it was like a long robe of sorts, but loose and open, like a almost like it would be like a duster, except not heavy, but very lightweight. Um, she seems to be talking excitedly about something. You can't quite make out what she's saying, since we're going Exandrian type scrying on this. Um, the other figures in the room are out of focus, and you're just sort of peering into what appears to be yeah, it looks like it might be any. Actually, no. Go ahead and make an intelligence history check.
It's a 20. Yeah.
Oh, 20?
Dirty 20. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, you recognize this architectural style. It is a very common sort of, I would say it's sort of like early Zemnian, if anything. Um, hasn't been around for a long time. Um, but it would be found in the southern parts of the empire. Um, the woman that's been talking steps in between your perspective and your mother, and so she comes into focus, and she does look she looks um I don't know if you got a glimpse of her last time, but you see your
I
mother
think I
sort of
did.
turn around and like track her, and she has this sort of confused look on her face. And the woman kind of steps up and just sort of like looks like directly at you. So it's clear that she is cognizant of, okay, that she's observing the observer. And she sort of cocks her head a little bit, and it's like, what? We're not going to help you. He's not going to help you. They're not going to help you. You're on your own. Idiot. She waves her hand and the scrying ends.
I mean, Aiden will blink like he came out of it, but doesn't say anything immediately. He's thinking over what he saw.
Trying to any fortune.
Somebody said something, I didn't quite catch it.
He's basically said any luck.
Luck's an odd word for it. Not too much to go on. Other than I did kind of recognize the architecture of the building, so probably should be heading north and east from here, I believe.
Very well.
Also, I was spotted.
Oh.
But I don't really-
Well, that's not ideal.
Yeah, just immediately a concern like that.
Yeah, but I'm not really sure what she was saying. Didn't make sense if it was addressed to me.
Who else would she be addressing? Was she with someone?
I mean, well, no, it wasn't. No, my mom wasn't the one who saw it. It was the other one.
Other.
Someone else.
Yeah, the caster that was with her was a lady. It started with an A. I think it was her.
Give a name. Mm,
I want to say Adelaide, but I don't think that's right. But it's similar.
Canal just looks confused. She wasn't around for any of that part.
Oh.
So she saw that you were scrying, but didn't potentially know it was you who was scrying. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
What did
Because
she
the first
say?
thing that she said was, "We're not going to help you." She may have assumed I was someone else.
That actually wouldn't be the worst thing, honestly, if she thought you were someone else.
what else did she say?
I mean, she said, "We're not going to help you. He's not going to help you. They're not going to help you."
Interesting. Lady Adelaide.
What is
Hey,
Adelaide?
nice.
Thank you. That was from before I started taking good note. My own, because she's not in my spreadsheet of NPCs.
I know more information. I think that might help, but that was information Dalton got that I don't think he shared with anybody.
Great. Darlton fucked us over.
Dalton wasn't interested.
Darlton fucked over his player's other
You
character.
played yourself.
Right. Well, who's scried originally on? Was it on Iarno?
Mhm.
Because I remember
Yes.
I narrated a session.
Yes, it was Elias. I remember that.
Okay.
Mm.
It was on Iarno, and that was like when it's right before he came back to Phandalin.
Right. Okay. Yeah. In which case, Elias, with his, strong, insightful DM mouthpiece insight, um, says that last time that they were looking in on Iarno, he was asking for a bunch of help and had a tantrum when they said no.
Right.
Actually, like, that's what I was wondering. Honestly, if they thought it was him, maybe they don't know he's dead.
Well, either way, I suppose that works in our favor. We have a direction,
Ah,
at least for now.
yeah, she's being a shit right now.
Maggie!
Hey, did you bring us all food?
Bring it up for the rest of the class.
She can't hear you.
Yeah, well, that's your fault, not
Thank
mine.
you. No, 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 do not, don't you. Give me a second. Hold on.
Sure.
I need.
Meow.
Maybe it's time for a quick break.
Yeah. With that startling revelation
Ba,
of
ba,
who's this strange woman? What does she have to do with Aiden's mom?
ba.
And what are they going to do when they find out that Yarno's not alive? Find out after the break on Wild Times in Wildemount.
Find out he's not alive. Yay. Break time, break time, break time, break time.
Same
Like
Wild
it.
Times.
We shall deal with this the way we deal with everything else.
Punch him in the asshole.
Yes, the prison pocket.
What is with you? Prison?
I'm gonna use that new spell that I got just to punch Knox. I think I'm gonna do it. If we're not doing it tonight, I think I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna wallop him right now.
I was trying to have a moment and no.
It's Bureau's fault. Blame Bureau. He's the one who said it.
I said it once.
I know.
So
You shouldn't have said it to
yeah,
Knox.
but when John hears it and he loves something, he's gonna run that joke into the fucking ground. That's what you don't understand.
He's gonna bury that thing 10 feet deep.
Here lies
10
prison
feet
pocket.
up the prison
Episode
pocket.
55 to 80.
Side behind you, those of you who are still in the four-way intersection,
Oh boy.
you watch as coming out of that weird green glowy liquid
Motherfucker.
is another one.
Fucking
God
hell.
damn
I should have drank it. I knew I should have drank it. Whatever.
I
don't
Glad
think
you
you should have drank the
No.
snake liquid.
People have been telling me that for years. I've never taken their advice.
Oh my god.
Big inspiration.
What you gonna do?
Someone clip that, please. Tommy, clip that shit.
And I fist hard. And I fist strong. All right, I'm down. Let's do this.
I'm not King Shimon. Let's do this.
Excellent. Prepare your body. No. You should not eat dinner before this. Otherwise, you might puke it all over me, and that is just. Ugh. We are fisters here, men of culture.
Well, I had fun.
I don't know. It seems like a rather unsatisfying finish, don't you think?
I
don't know.
assume thou
I'm
hast
pretty
heard such
satisfied.
a thing many times. He set himself up for that fucker.
Elias just falls out of his chair.
This one quickly reaches out to catch him.
This is at least worth. If something's going on in this city involving, I'd like to know about it.
Of course, I shall follow their lead. Yeah. But for now, I know thou wishest to have thy spell time.
Spell time?
She's just like, she doesn't really know.
That's a phrase.
She's like, that's...
Is that what they're calling it now?
He wants to go alone into the bedroom.
Not how modern slang works.
Put out some incense. What do you think?
It's gonna take me like 10 minutes.
Nah, I'll just void that. I'll cast locate object on gold coins.
You get several thousand dings on your locate object. Without too much trouble with that, you are able to find the horde of Zuthus, the corroded soul.
We found them. Yay.
Fike, I shall not say this very often, but get the hole ready.
Yeah, it's not gonna fit in the bag, brah. It's not
You
fitting
just
in
got
the bag.
experience points.
Yes! Let's go. Let's go.
I hope you've got quite a few other a small army of capable fighters with you.
Smash cut to small army fighting people in the ring in that bar.
Ding, 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 ding.
Smash cut to Vanya and Orion fighting what looks to be about a dozen other dwarves in a caged ring.
Please tell me Vanya is wielding Orani like a club and is just and he's swinging down, stopping her before that Orani punches. Hey, the punching club, my only weakness.
Just leave one leg open so I can kick him too.
Smash cut back to the office. Smash cut back to the office of Nostock.
You could say we have something along those lines.
Specifically, that one's called, fuck.
It's a weird name for an island. Fuck.
Fuck it, I said
really
it.
don't want to go there.
Now. It's Fuck Island.
It's either the best or the worst island in the archipelago.
So named.
It's definitely not a mediocre experience, though.
So named because everybody who goes there says, fuck, this is a terrible place.
That's actually their slogan. Fuck, this is a terrible place.
Yeah, it's what their tourism bureau tells people. Yeah, so as you're going by Fuck Island, you hear some crows saying, yeah, the people on Fuck Island are fighting each other again.
I don't suppose the crows recognize any cult symbols?
Nah, no cults there. Just 3 different groups of people with very strong ideas about what to do.
Just a bunch of fuckers, really.
Yeah, basically.
So these fuckers want to raise taxes.
Only some of the horrible things going on are cult things. The rest are just regular terrible people.
Just double checking.
That's fair.
Because, I kind of want to know who our neighbors are, but that'll be on that goes on to the to-do list.
All right. Yeah. I will. Let me come up with some quick faction names for you while we're sailing.
The factions that we can get to fight each other harder.
Sure. They're already in a turf war. You can't start one amongst them.
Okay, so our goal is to stop the turf war. Got it.
We need to unite the fuckers against a common foe.
Common fuckery.
Friends, Romans, fuckers.
Under the banner of common fuckery.
Oh, I'm so glad we named it Fuck Island. Oh,
I thought I didn't have
alrighty.
enough caffeine for this, but apparently I do.
I'm just gonna go ahead and start another Google Doc real quick for Fuck Island. 'Cause I think we're gonna see more of it in the future. Alrighty. So yeah, you pass by Fuck Island. The fuckers are fighting the fuckers are fighting the shitters again.
Fuck you all. I might be crying. I'm laughing so hard.
Oh, you're gonna have to give me a second. Okay.
Fucking same.
If we conquer it and then eventually trade it away in a business deal, we could give somebody a fuck. Or if we refuse to do it, we would not give a fuck.
Fuck you!
Look at all the I have to give. Yeah. Okay.
If the
there-
shitters are involved, I don't want to take any shit.
I think I'm just dead, guys. I'm sorry.
Their main factions are now canonically the fuckers, the shitters, and the dammers. The fuckers really want to fuck shit up. The shitters just the shitters are big on the idea of public infrastructure, specifically for sewage, and the dammers are really, really big on building dams for some reason.
They're a big fan of beavers.
Yeah, big fan of beavers. They're beaver people. Yes.
So it's ultimately a conflict about public infrastructure planning.
It's ultimately a conflict about public infrastructure of two people who have very strong ideas on two groups of people who have very strong ideas about what the main form of public infrastructure should be and what their focus should be, versus one other group of people who just really, really want to fuck shit up.
I just thought like the fuckers were just like really into just making it a very island brothel.
Fuck.
This is starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book.
Almost.
It's really all just really about the type of whorehouse they want.
Well, we'll work on it. I'll write something for Fuck Island. Do not fear.
You're
the main
welcome.
takeaway for now: beaver people are now canon for Euelia. They will all speak in Newfie accents. All of them. All right. So yeah, Fuck Island. That is now.
Some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this.
And I'm gonna inflict wound.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna do inflict. Whoops. Go back.
Inflict whoops.
Whoops.
Inflict whoops. As if I've made a terrible mistake.
Very educational.
Of course, it is my calling to aid those in the name of the Wild Mother. You are a follower and from what I've seen, a good one. And it was my pleasure to assist you in such a daunting task.
Given all that, she said you would be most effective of a teacher. So, and she was not wrong.
Well, I have long caught the Wild Mother's eye in doing good works for her for many a year. And the fact that she would say something like that to you about me.
Just watching this being like both a bit like surprised and also like, oh shit, she called him a crotchety asshole. I'm not gonna don't think about it, don't think about it.
I did so enjoy slicing into his flesh that one time. I was a battle axe that time. It was pretty cool.
It's just like does that. Oh, it's so fucking weird to hear you say pretty cool.
I'm picking up the nomenclature. Things have changed a bit, but I'm starting to pick up, the lingo.
Ren would appreciate him way more than Arani.
Cool. I'm hip with it.
Tucka 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 tucka. I just realized he does kind of have a Dr. Evil's voice.
I'm hit with it. I get jiggy. I get down.
Let us return at a later time.
Very well. Did you wish to speak to anyone, Seo?
And I'm like, I need to get some super good masks.
Yep.
3.
Yeah, I just recently ordered some other super good
Just
masks,
finishing up break.
and I'm just like
just having
gonna try them
conversations, you
out
will.
and see which ones I find the most
Hope you're all doing
comfortable
well,
for long wear. Both what I find most comfortable for long wear and what seems to create the best seal.
TwitchCon next week.
Because like my
I still need
KF94s
to
are
pack.
really
I'm gonna pack a
comfortable,
lot
but
tomorrow.
their seal isn't perfect. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. So like they're really good for like I know everyone's vaccinated and or I'm skating and I'm not really close to anyone who isn't vaccinated. But at a con, I'd prefer to have a better seal. Oh, COVID. It continues.
Fucking COVID.
All right. So is everyone done munching?
Or at least done enough
Mostly,
to continue.
More or less.
Right.
Almost.
Or less.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, picking up, Aiden had just finished scrying on his mother. Picked up a clue or two as to where she was and who she was with. Elias provided a little bit more context from the last time that he scryed on Yarno. And it seems that the woman, the Lady Adelaide, who was accompanying Aiden's mother, seemed to have mistaken Aiden's scrying for Iarno and berated him and told him that he would find no help and dispelled the scry.
So now it's just a matter of sneaking out of Phandalin without anyone seeing us and heading where we need to go.
Or at least without anyone important seeing us.
Yeah, fair.
Who's important in Phandalin?
Oh, we're in Shadowfell Phandalin. Who the heck knows?
Anyway, we should start heading toward Empire territory, it seems.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's on this side of the plane.
That's gonna be a bit of a hike.
Well, closer than we were.
On the
Vandalin's
prime,
almost like right on the border, right?
yeah, on the prime material plane, Phandalin is just Menagerie Coast side of the Sirius Mountains, north, like in the mountains, right on the border of the Empire. And so on the prime material plane, mountains run to the north and to the west and to the south. This Phandalin to the north and the east is that large body of water, and the mountains themselves are west and south. So there's different terrain, but while it isn't necessarily a one-for-one exchange of land on the prime material plane and land in the Shadowfell, if you go in the general direction of northeast, you will get to the general vicinity of whatever is on the other side of the divide between the planes within the Empire itself.
The general direction's better than nothing.
Well, then let's go.
Suppose there is no time to waste given what happens in this realm.
I'd rather not linger longer than we have to.
Audio got really, really quiet, and it's super weird.
Actually, that kind of works out, really, given she's being quieter and more like, don't like it here, don't like it here, don't like it here.
I'm gonna just kind of walk close to Purnell.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye.
She's doing a much. She's doing a faster pace than she would normally, probably, though, while trying to
Also
be
stick
careful.
close to Purnell.
Okay.
Know her well enough to be like, okay, yeah.
To guess.
kind of flank.
Right.
Like,
So
she knows exactly what happens when you stay here too long. Go, go, go.
You trek northeast, Empire direction, and you would probably estimate that large body of water, you can't see the other side, so it's not like a small lake. So it would be something, real world would be Great Lakes sized, potentially. And it's probably less than a day's walk. The land from your until you go find a higher perspective. This hill is probably the largest or the highest vantage point for at least in the vicinity. It's probably about a half a day's walk, east northeast.
The last time we were in the Shadowfell, Purnell, formerly Krytanis,
between
got super fucking depressed and then died.
Looks mostly
Died, quote,
broken,
unquote.
barren, whatever versions of forests and hills and stuff lie between. But in general, the land just sort of slowly slopes down lower and lower towards that body of water.
It
So
doesn't look
you're-
like the
you're-
kind of thing we can feasibly go around.
You could. It would be difficult to say which way would be better, north or south. From your perspective of where you're at right now, it's a lot of water to the north and a lot of water to the south. But you're not high enough to see how far in either direction.
Well, you have ways of getting eyes in the sky.
You're muted.
Good idea.
Sorry. If someone suggests that, I can send Brightwing up and look through Brightwing's eyes and see what I see. He can go as far from me as he wants, as long as he stays in the Shadowfell.
Right. How far can you? How close does he have to be for you to be able to communicate with him?
He can go as far as he wants, as long as he stays in the Shadowfell, because I have the voice of the Pact Keeper, which means I can
You can
communicate
stay
with
in
him.
touch with him as long as he's on the same
As
plane.
long as he's in the same plane, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So he flies up and up and up and up, and you lose sight of him pretty quickly. After a couple of minutes, he says that the water goes a lot further north than it does south. If you're going to try and go around, go south.
Okay.
And you hear this sort of as he reports that, and he sort of starts, sort of lazily coming back. He then you sense it first. It's sort of like this intense curiosity. It's like, oh, is that something to murder finally? And then no, as you can sense a growing level of panic as he is descending as quickly as he can. He's like, it's built and it's got rents and it's coming this way.
Weary would look through his eyes.
As you're like, look, let me see what you're seeing. Like, no, I don't want to. But he does look, and it appears to be a rather large Gloomstalker, those sort of shadowy creatures that you have encountered before. It seems especially large, especially from his perspective. But he is flying as quickly as he can, and it seems to be veering to intercept him. And he is like, nope, trouble. That is what you see from his. It is going to intercept him much sooner than he can reach.
As an action, I will temporarily dismiss him.
Okay.
There is no longer a Brightwing.
Right, there is no longer a Brightwing. Yeah, and at that point, you all hear a loud screech.
And I would also at the same time be saying Gloomstalker.
Daggers.
I go invisible.
Sounds about right.
Okay. I need everybody to make dexterity stealth rolls. If you're invisible or otherwise have weird supernatural sneaky abilities, you can clearly roll with advantage.
What? I just rolled my second stealth natural 20 tonight.
Nice.
So 35. Again.
Okay.
25.
15.
10.
Stealth 17.
Hey.
Okay.
Help out of roll 20 apparently.
So everyone's like, "Oh, quick, hide!" And you all scatter. And it's like you're actually very good at this. And so, unlike maybe in your first forays as an adventuring party, where you're like, "No, this is my hiding spot," and you're trying to, it's
tripping
it's
over
quick,
beds.
it's professional, right? You're tripping
Face
over
planting.
beds.
And Elias running into each other.
Right. You all scatter very, very quickly.
Right, I just don't move. I just turn invisible.
Yeah. And just like, probably
I
about
like being able to do that.
30 seconds later, you can you hear it before you can see it, just because it's dark in the sky and this thing is a black shadowy creature. But what you eventually see is a Gloomstalker. But this one is larger. Apparently they come in different sizes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Magical.
And it's sort of those of you with a good sense for the emotional state of beasts and creatures can tell it's annoyed and angry, and it sort of screeches and reels down, so far as to almost like kick up dust and debris off of the ground, before it sort of like lands amongst some of the large trees, in like a strange cat or bat-like way, and it kind of like starts clambering around and like sniffing, and you can hear that sort of deep like as it's sniffing for whatever was here before, and it screeches in anger, and but it doesn't actually notice any of your presence, and it kind of snaps a bunch of the branches, until eventually giving up the search, and you can hear the flapping of its leathery wings that takes off and flies away.
A little close.
Wonderful. Everyone good?
For large gloomstalkers, not exactly.
Yeah,
right.
it size of like a small dragon.
Great.
Yeah.
Just what we
Yeah.
always
Large.
wanted.
Yeah, like that black dragon from way back when, that was just pretty. I mean, dragons are big, but it was a young dragon. It was about roughly that same size. The wingspan was probably a good 60 feet.
Nothing up the big.
We should
I don't like
probably
it.
keep moving.
Indeed.
Let's.
And be careful.
How are you getting down the hill? Are you going to climb down? Are you going to walk down the path? What is your approach here? Are you going to try and be very, very quiet and sneaky as you do it?
I mean, we don't have to worry about the ghosts noticing us as long as we don't stay too present. So
We hope.
Yeah.
They didn't
So
react
far.
much to the Gloomstalker, and the Gloomstalker didn't react much to them. Okay, it was clearly on the hunt for living flesh of some kind, and ghosts did not meet its dietary needs.
I wouldn't need a ghost either.
I mean, I guess the question is like,
Yeah.
is it reasonably like? Is there a way we could reasonably get down fairly like stealthily and quietly, or is it we go by the path, or we have a struggle climb?
It's you're all fairly experienced adventurers and such. It would just be a matter of, you can either climb down the very steep hill, which would make it harder to be quiet, or you could go down the path where it would be very easy to be quiet and to hide behind things, but you're going straight down a path into the edge of town. That is the choice, unless you teleport more or fly or something.
I actually have a comment that I wanted to make for a little bit because I was reminded of something listening to Adventure Zone again recently. We have been making the broom a lot more complicated than it needs to be because you can command it to travel to a place within a mile of you by itself. So you could literally just do a fairy situation without playing the whole broom shuffle. You can just tell it to go.
On the other hand, we did just have a thing in the air that attracted a giant gloomstalker. I don't know if we want to fly.
Yeah,
But like in the past, we were like,
In
oh,
the
like somebody has
past,
to bring
yeah.
it back and forth, and we didn't really need to do that.
But I'm
No,
also
you
just
can.
thinking like we could. It's going down. Not we're talking about going down a hill, not up into the sky. So
That would enable all of you to quickly and stealthily descend the hill, so there would be no penalties to being quiet. And it would
Let's
take
do
a
that.
little bit of time to ferry each person up and down the hill.
I'm fine trying to climb down myself
Yeah.
while I'm invisible.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not super worried about the climb. It's
All right. So,
stealth might be.
those of you who climb down, you begin climbing down. It's not precarious. It's relatively simple. It's just a matter of how quiet you can be during it. So since you're invisible, Aiden, that it's just a straight dexterity stealth. There's no disadvantage.
11.
Okay.
I'll
So what is the order of people flying down?
I don't know that we'd even figured out the detail. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I think I'm fine. Just climb.
I'm bad at climbing, so
I mean, if it's
I'll
not
just climb down.
if it's not a climbing situation that involves like strength, like if it's not going to require strength, Weary will probably just walk.
I mean, it literally requires strength. This is climbing. It's a strength athletics check. That being said, it's not a it's DC 5. Like it's not super steep. It's not dangerous. It's not raining. There's no inclement weather. There's no stress. There's no you can
I
climb down.
managed to roll a natural 1.
Yeah.
You have inspiration.
Yay!
This is why I didn't want to climb.
Okay.
You could have not climbed.
Right.
Yeah.
Aiden is climbing down. Keegan is climbing down. Velis is attempting to climb down.
I mean, if everyone else is
Velis is gonna fall on his ass. Let's be honest. It was a 1.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see this.
My strength is fine. I rolled a natural 16 on my strength check, so Weary is not dying.
I'll climb down.
I
That was good.
fall down.
Right.
Try to
the
catch his
entire
ass.
hill.
Yeah.
Straight
Go ahead and
strength
make a
or is it-
dexterity. Yeah, it's
Athletics.
just a strength athletics.
Okay.
Velis, make a dexterity
yeah.
saving throw.
Yeah. Am I able to try to like
how
grab him?
ungracefully.
But then stealth is at disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
Well, my dexterity save is plus 11, so that's a 17.
Okay. So
Stick the landing.
you slip and you slide, but you do it like it's not quite vertical, which makes it relatively simple to climb down, but you like stepped on the wrong rock or something. And so instead of like quietly and carefully climbing your way down, you basically just surf down the entire way, kicking up rocks and brush and dirt and making a whole lot of noise. And so the rest of you all climb down relatively simply and safely and quietly.
Do a stealth check too. If you're climbing, or was it just an athletics?
I'm just kind of keeping your general stealth, but really it doesn't matter what you rolled because Velis rolled a 1. So as you all kind of begin to collect yourself, and like Velis doesn't fall because he's Velis. He's he catches himself, but he does make quite a bit of commotion. And as you all kind of look at him in the moments as he finishes stepping onto ground, you can hear the sound of hoofbeats of a cantering horse up at the top, somewhere up on the top of the hill. And you can then see a dark figure on a dark horse sort of move up against sort of at the top of the hill and kind of peer down at all of you. Those of you with decent vision can see it is a humanoid figure clad in blackened armor. The horse doesn't look completely alive. Yeah. But I would say, Wuria, why don't you just give me a intelligence history check real quick.
History. Okay. Dirty 20.
Okay. You can see that even though it's like charred black, emblazoned across the chest plate armor of this figure are the coat of arms and insignia of the Tresendar family, which is the family that built and owned the manor that was on the other side of the material plane.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's interesting.
And
Yeah.
the figure's sort of watching all of you.
Start slowly backing away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, Wario's gonna keep an eye on it and like, yeah, back away. See if like leaving makes this figure not care about them, basically.
Yeah.
It turns
Exactly
to go,
Yep.
and you can hear the sound of hoofbeats, but they're at a very fast pace. But they're going quiet. Whatever it is, it's galloping away from you.
I don't know if that's the end of that, but those are.
We should go.
They're
leave.
wearing the coat of arms of the Sender family, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
But
that's
yes,
weird.
we should leave, indeed.
Yeah, I'd like to leave.
Okay. All right. So
I just
you
say
all
into the air wherever Aiden potentially is. Not a fucking word.
Okay. So if you head in an east or southeast direction, that is in the rough direction of navigating around that large body of water. But I wonder, as you turn to leave Spooky Phandalin, how fast are you moving? I wonder.
That's not a loaded question.
I don't like the way we asked that.
My gut
brisk pace.
My gut instinct is like not like super slow, but not so fast that like we're really fucking obvious.
Yeah, I feel like
Fennel might be going a little bit faster than people want her to.
Walking with purpose.
faster than normal. Slightly
I'm gonna
faster
probably
than
hang at the back of the group just to keep an eye behind him.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm definitely as best Elias can keeping an eye out because he doesn't see great in the dark.
Yeah, Wario's also keeping an eye out.
It's
That's great in the
it's
dark.
dim everywhere.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of light. But it's not like walking through pitch darkness, pitch black darkness. All right. After a couple of minutes of brisk, mild heart rate increasing walking, you can all hear the sound of a number of horses, of the sort of very distinctive galloping coming from the general direction that you've left.
Okay. Very, 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 very quiet.
Yeah, could we like?
Is there anywhere to
Well, yeah, so is there
stay
anywhere
low?
to hide?
So there are some sparse sparse trees and such. Everyone can make a quick attempt to find something nearby to hide. It's not like completely mowed down like how it was around Phandalin. So it is sort of like walking through at least an unnatural environment. But there are like a fallen tree, large stones.
I'm trying to
dips in the
imagine Leah
earth.
and Hegan hiding behind trees.
Leah and Hegan may have a slightly harder time hiding behind things. Leah could definitively shrink into an animal, and I think she may actually do that.
Fair. So could
Wait,
Hegan,
no.
actually.
Hegan can, not Leah.
Oh yeah, he
So
can.
both, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, Waria, if we're actively trying to hide, Waria would probably like tap Leah and make, because she knows Hegan can make himself a tiny animal.
Yeah.
Would probably
Okay.
tap Leah and cast invisibility on her. So, unless a fight starts, she's a lot harder to spot.
Okay, would someone like to roll for Leah? A stealth check with advantage, because you don't want me rolling for Leah.
I'll do
Because
it.
she's going to get inspiration twice.
Okay. What's her mod?
I believe it's 0.
Oh, okay.
Probably. She's not a stealthy stealther stealth.
Okay, then that's a 14.
Okay.
I'm still invisible.
I'm just trying to hide.
Low and hide.
Yeah. I assume
It's
we all
double
need to roll
eights.
stealth, right?
I'm just an angry weasel.
Nope, it was me.
7.
It was
Actually,
me.
I'm gonna hit myself with
Is
guidance.
Pernell the one who's
real
visible
fast.
I'm the one.
too,
I'm the one who gets a.
just in case.
Can
gets
I
an inspiration.
Can I pass my inspiration to someone else, like
Oh, no.
reactionary, or is that like beforehand?
I assume that was if you had it already, you can pass
Yeah,
it.
I'm just not sure.
if you get it and you have it, you can pass it to someone else. But if you want to explicitly give someone inspiration, it generally has to be in response to, like, they did a thing that you thought deserved inspiration, not failing a roll.
Yeah. I just didn't know if I could like pass mine forward, but because
Not
I'm
reactionary.
Okay.
It is a 9.
My nat one is still an 11 total, but.
Okay. All right. So everyone sort of scatters and hides. And that same dark figure that you saw previously rides up with a trio of these look like rather than being like fully physical, like the armored figure, they are spectral, riding spectral horses. They all have that sort of translucent glowy green, and they all are wearing very antique looking armor. But they all have like missing parts to their faces. They are clearly undead spectral somethings. So he rides up and eventually they stop a little bit beyond where you're all hiding. And the figure pulls on the reins, turns its horse around, and the horse sort of like slowly walks back, the 3 other spectral warriors following. And the figure seems to be sort of like looking down at the ground, following tracks, and it eventually stops. And it gets down off the horse and just kind of peers around. Elias, why don't you go ahead and make a intelligence or religion check for me?
Okay.
just holding a dagger at the ready to attack it if it makes a move on anyone.
9 again.
Okay.
Rolled a 2.
So the only thing that you can guess is that this has got to be something big if it can command like spectral warriors, but it's also like it's not like a ghost or something itself. This is something physical. Yeah. It's probably undead.
Yeah.
It kind of just looks around.
This is when I step on something.
Yeah.
And it raises its hand into the air for a moment, and you can see the hand begin to glow with sort of like a sort of angry orange red light, and he just sort of begins summoning what looks to be like this dark orange ball of fire that's sort of rippling with like black energy. And then he tosses it at its feet, and it explodes into this massive dark energy fireball. And I need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
Cool.
I don't remember. Is that going to change for being a weasel?
Dirty 20.
You would use Weasel's
Been a long
dexterity,
time.
Oh no.
but you would use your proficiency modifier
Roll the
if
dice out.
your class is proficient in dexterity, and you need to get an 18.
22, but I
I
used
failed.
my inspiration that I got from that nat one.
Okay. So,
I take no damage.
okay.
Okay. There's a +3 to dex on that. That's okay.
So those
Guy's
of
a
you,
9.
so everyone is. Let me double check something, because those of you who are hiding are technically in cover. I would not say. It's not a direct. It is an area of effect. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maggie, no.
Okay.
No.
Everyone's rolling that one.
Elias has inspiration.
So much inspiration
Okay.
tonight.
Yeah, you get
Yay.
inspiration if you get nat ones now.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you that.
All right. Those of you who fail the saving throw take 35 points of fire damage and 35 points of necrotic damage.
Whoa.
Oh,
Jesus.
Fuck.
That's what, 70 points
So
altogether?
Egan's not a weasel anymore.
70 points.
No, Egan is no longer a weasel.
So I take nothing for evasion, right?
If
'Cause I
you
succeeded.
if you succeed, you take no damage at all.
Okay.
Half of that
Total
That's
again?
would
half
be
of my hit points in one go.
Yeah, more
so
than
it's
half of whereas.
so it's half fire, half necrotic. So if you have resistance to either of those, then there's calculation. Otherwise, 70 on a fail, 35 on a success. But if you have resistance to
big.
either fire or necrotic, then you get one of the. Anyways, let me know what the calculations are. Also, I need everybody to roll initiative.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And but to do that, let me move us over to a battlefield, where we can have tokens.
Oh, now you roll good. Oh, and I get advantage on that. Alright.
Right.
Right, like yeah, now I roll a natural.
Yeah, now I.
Of course.
Yeah. See, that's 17. I could have rolled that on my
Okay,
deck.
I need to get everybody's tokens and copy them to the sheet. I thought this put. Wait, hold on. Maybe it's this other battle map. No. Okay, I thought I had a blank map. Because I don't think I've got like a generic. Let's see. No, actually, I do have a appropriate map saved. So sorry for the constant shifting.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's good.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Give me a moment because I need to go grab y'all's tokens.
It's been a minute. Someone hit
Has
something.
been. Okay,
I
so
really
I would
want to hit
say
something.
everyone is here. I need to go get Aiden's token. I gotta find a page with Aiden's token on it,
Gotta fix that HP.
Yep.
or just bring a new one onto play.
There we go.
Aiden. There we go. Okay, and
Just gonna adjust that. Oh, I gotta fix his max too.
I don't like him.
so
Don't
you're all
either.
scattered in this rough vicinity. And you can kind of place yourselves where you think it would be appropriate.
Weasel, he
Nice
can probably
to put a
get
bunch of
stuck.
stuff.
Can I be like here behind this tree?
Sure. Yeah, you can be scattered around. He kind of came into the middle of everybody.
Okay. Oh my god. Those
Question.
that's
If
nasty hits.
Leah has her auras, would that have increased people's
Oh yeah.
saves?
I
I
feel
rolled a
like we're too
1.
scattered to really determine.
Because no, the reason I'm saying that is because Wiria literally,
Yeah.
I literally said Wiria cast invisibility on Leah, so Wiria would be right next to Leah.
Right. then
Um,
Wuria probably would have benefited from
Okay, so then I did not lose. I lost 35, not 70. Okay.
That's
That's
fine.
good. That's good.
So,
That's
like,
good.
Rhea
That's
was
good.
right there.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got these 3 dark spectral knights.
Now that I'm actually looking at this stuff, Brendan, you were right. I was doing that right. So I'm excited now. I get to hit better.
Okay. So as he does that, he dismounts the 3 that the 3 spectral warriors do not. So they are still on spectral horseback. And I need to give everyone turns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. Hold on, I don't need to actually. Let's do this. I'm gonna put you down over here in the corner. And you're gonna represent the enemies.
Oh my god. Why can I not type my initiative?
I still to this day always forget I have Indomitable.
Yeah.
It's fine.
There we go. That did not want to take.
Oh, it would help if I put mine.
It drops this dark necromantic hellfire spell, which completely leaves his spectral warriors and himself unaffected. But all of you take a bunch of damage.
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
But being the seasoned adventurers that you are, you all quickly jump into action and move a hell of a lot faster than all of my monsters as usual.
Hey.
Oh no.
All right. So I think since we're in combat, where he's not going to worry about retaining concentration on invisibility on Leah, and is instead going to cast Bane on all 4 of these guys.
Okay.
So that's a DC 18 Charisma save. Well, actually, hold on. Let me figure out if she moves first, because some of them are a little further away. Yeah, so she'd move a little bit closer to do that, because she'd have to move out a little bit to get to the further away guys. And she'd want to get
Okay.
all of them. So yeah, now she's 30 feet from everybody.
They are all baned.
Okay.
So that is minus 1d4 on attack rolls and
Well, I'm Bane. We'll check. I think attack and saving throws. Yeah, attack and saving throws.
not
So we're
affiliation. Okay.
just attack and saving throws. We're just concentrating on that. And then she's going to give, you know what, she's gonna give Elias inspiration, because Elias is right there.
Okay. What's your inspiration
It's
now?
D10, I believe. Yes, D10.
Do you have any particular words that you inspire him with? Or maybe it's
Oh, look, undead. At least we know what to do with them.
Oh, look,
Get him,
undead.
Elias.
Appropriate for Elias specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get him, Ray.
It's very awkward, but also appropriate.
Yes. Okay. Aiden, do you want to move anywhere?
Oops, sorry, I muted myself again. I think she would then move back a little bit, so she's not right there. So she'd move forward about 5 feet to get there. So 5 to 10, 15, 20. Like she'd move like sort of back here, I think. So she's not right in the line of fire.
Okay. Sure.
That is my turn.
Okay. All right, that leaves next with Aiden.
I got dice out planning for something. I changed my mind, so I'm getting different dice.
Gotta have the right dice.
Alright. Well, I'm going to back up a little bit here to get
Okay.
myself out of the range. And then kind of cracking neck a little bit. Just, yeah, that seems like a good warm up. And I will drop synaptic static on all of them.
Hey.
Okay.
The
Eh.
classic.
All right.
So they all make intelligence saves.
The DC being
20.
okay. The 3 spectral warriors fail, but the lead succeeds by high enough that the minus 1d4 is not going to matter.
Okay. Sure. All right. So 10. 4. So the ones that failed take 24 psychic damage.
Okay.
And the other one takes half. And they're the ones that failed now also subtract a d6 from their attack and ability checks.
Okay.
And any concentration checks as well.
You.
They can make a intelligence save at the end of the turn to try and end it.
Okay. They can certainly try.
Yeah.
Are you going to move?
I already moved back a little bit.
Okay. Right. You did mention. Okay. Velis.
Hit myself with Zephyr Strike
Okay.
and take a breath and run in.
Sure.
Take that advantage from Assassinate,
Sure.
which makes the first attack a 27 to hit.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a bonus action.
Oh, what was
Oh.
your bonus action?
I'm gonna curse the main guy.
Curse him. Okay. Is that a save or he's just cursed?
Nope, he's just cursed.
Okay, he is cursed. And judging by his appearance, he's probably cursed in many
He's
different
already
ways.
cursed.
He's
He's double cursed.
Yeah. So as you approach this knight, this undead knight, you can tell it is a powerful warrior. And you can tell by the stance that he's in. He's unslung his shield, and he's got he's basically one hand wielding a greatsword that is pretty wicked looking. Based on his stance, he's definitely the type of warrior to command a battlefield, to understand his opponents, and to be able to react quickly to them. But you're moving faster than he may have anticipated, judging you based on your size and features. And so as he attempts to bring his sword around to parry, you beat his AC by 1 and get your attack in.
26?
Oh, fuck.
Let's go.
Oh
He
my
used his
god.
reaction to increase his AC against you, but you beat him.
15. Okay, hold on. 15.
He
16,
was
19,
just
25,
a moment too slow.
25 plus 6 is 31 with the first hit.
Okay. Is that all slashing damage?
It's piercing.
Oh, piercing, right?
Yeah,
'Cause you got
magical
pokey hits.
piercing.
Okay.
Second hit. Bring around the other dagger. That is a 26 to hit.
That is Unfortunately, he's finally brought his blade and is beginning to parry these supernaturally fast strikes of yours.
All right, I'm
Wait,
gonna.
no, hold on. He's trying to. He only gets to use that as it's not like a shield spell. It's a +6 to AC against one melee attack.
Okay.
So he's trying and he's moving fast, but you're faster.
He gets a gold star, but that's
That's
Yeah. E for
oh,
effort.
plus a d6. Hold on, because Kraken's bite. So that's 7 piercing and 5 lightning damage on that one. Which ignore what I
Okay.
just did. Didn't mean to do that.
Sure.
Third hit. Bring the first dagger around again. Natural
Nat-
1.
Natural one. Yeah. You're like, aha, and like the third strike comes in, and he just rotates a little bit, and you just basically, you all of you hear this bong as you just bash your dagger right into the middle of his shield.
Ah, fuck you too. And I'm just gonna 30, 30,
Bullseye.
40.
Yeah.
All the way back here.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say back up.
I did.
I've gotten a
Yeah. Okay. Elias.
Okay. So a 10-foot radius. If I drop it on, if I drop something with a 10-foot radius on this middle one here,
would get
that
all of
hit
them.
all of them?
Yeah.
Cool beans. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna stand up, and I think it's what, a 60 foot. I assume I'm good on. Oh yeah, plenty of. Just kind of, I stand up, crack his knuckles a bit. Like, all right, turnabout's fair play, and I'm gonna flame strike.
Hell yeah.
Dexterity saving throw.
Yep, Dex saving throw DC 18.
Let's fucking
Of
go.
course.
I need D6s. Because it's damage either way.
So that's 2 separate natural ones.
Hey,
but I don't get inspiration.
Let's fucking
Oh
go.
no.
But they all fail.
Do I get a second inspiration from the attack net one, or is it only like ability checks?
No, every time you roll in that one.
Oh, cool. Let me pass that to Pernell. Oh no, you have one, don't you?
No, I used it.
You get it.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you already
So-
have inspiration and you get it, you can pass it on.
Take that.
Thank you.
All right, so that is right. 46 and 46. Yes. All right. So let's say that's 5, 10, 15. Let's say that one's the fire. So that's 16 fire damage. And that's good. 8, 9, 14 radiant damage. So
So a total of 30.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I did this separate because I don't know if either of those affect them differently, but
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Not everything. Actually, a little bit it does.
I was say I wasn't sure with it being radiant and then being undead if that had any effect, but
Not every
Okay.
undead is vulnerable to
Yeah.
radiant, but some undead are
Some are.
resistant to fire.
Oh.
But yeah, these things do get blasted. What else you got?
It's been a minute. You know what? I'm gonna bonus action second wind because I hurt.
Yeah.
What's it D? No, my D10. There's a D10. Okay. That is 10 hit points back. Okay. And I'm just gonna I don't know if we should spread out in case he's got more fireballs. No, I'm gonna stay where I am.
I mean, a
Okay.
couple people in that area are gonna charge in, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay put.
Okay. Right. Then Pernell.
All right. So I was going to start rolling my stuff ahead of time since I have so much, but I'm just gonna show you what I got for the first one as she runs up to this fucker.
Sure. You can see like all of these attacks and everything coming in. The knight is weathering it, but as soon as this flame strike drops, you can see the sort of glowing red eyes beneath the helm do focus on Elias as like the threat.
Yep. Getting that she immediately jumps into his fucking face and crits him. So he gets lit up like a Christmas tree by the fairy fire on that shit.
Hey.
All right.
Literally like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, first attack on him is fuck, I have to go back and remember all my stuff for this, but yeah, he gets fairy fired. 13 slashing. No, actually, that's more than that because I haven't rolled the second thing yet. So 17 slashing and 17 radiant for the crit. Then just to hopefully lock these two down, she's going to take a swing at the knight here next to him.
Okay.
And he's marked.
Okay.
Next one on that is a 22. 22 on that knight.
All right. To hit or damage?
To hit.
Okay. Yeah. So he's already used his reaction, so he can't boost his AC anymore. So his AC is 20.
Cool. So
Was that the main guy again, or was it the one behind him?
this guy, the one behind him.
So
She's
the
locking
knight.
them both down.
Gotcha. Okay. Their AC and everything is significantly lower. Those are warriors. The main guy is the knight.
Okay. So yeah.
All right. So how much damage?
So 14 slashing and 7 radiant on that guy.
Okay. Yeah. You basically just cut him down, and there's this sort of spectral scream that fades into nothingness as both him and the horse that he's on.
Okay.
Hey.
I have
Dissipate.
then 2 more attacks, so I'm just gonna wail on this fucker with advantage.
Sure.
That's like a 27, and then dirty 20. As long as the dirty 20 hits him, I hit twice. So that's another 9 slashing, 6 radiant, and then the dark blade is just 8 radiant or 8 slashing. And that is my turn because I used my bonus action to attack.
All right. Let's see.
She's gonna have the JoJo menacing aura up for the 2 guys behind her. Like, you better protect this guy. Come at me.
Right.
Keegan has an 11, but he's behind Leah.
All right,
Yeah.
Keegan, you go.
Yeah.
I just when I was shifting them around, I didn't move them enough.
Okay. Well, having kind of noticed the attention on Elias after Elias had his go, Hegan is going to drop a flaming spear just right in front of his face.
Or
So as not to cook for now, because that would be rude.
Thank you.
The dex save.
y'all better be glad that I can't get inspiration on ones because you'd all be fucked.
That's fair.
So it's a 9.
Okay.
I can bonus session to move it to ram it into him in the same turn, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna do that. So, second save for dexterity.
What's the DC?
15.
2 14s.
Okay, so half damage, so just 6.
No, he failed.
Oh, I see.
The DC
I
was
don't know.
15.
I can't count today. It's been a long day. So yeah, 12 then.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, at
man.
this point, like this knight is a physical creature. And the strikes that it has been receiving, I mean it's head to toe armor. But you can see like whatever's inside of that armor, there's like wisps of smoke from the flame strike, and the electricity that's been hitting it. And you can see that its stance is slipping a little bit. The thing has been bloodied.
The main guy?
Is going to action surge.
Yeah. He is lit up like a Christmas tree, so wail on his ass.
Yeah, everyone's got
God,
advantage on
Pernell's
attack.
in the goddamn way though. Because Purnell is there, I can't do the other thing that I would have done. Because I also don't want to hit Purnell.
Run up and hit him.
Yeah, you can just hit him.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
not what I wanted to do, but it's fine. He is going to end up running and hitting him. But he is going to do it. He's going to do it. I guess it's technically a spell, so I can't. I wouldn't be able to use extra attack on a flame blade, would I? Because it's technically a spell.
Yes.
Okay. Then just gonna hit him like normal. Both attacks. God, fuck this dice, man. He gets dice as being a dick today.
Is that with advantage?
You have advantage because of the fairy fire.
Yeah, that's why it's lit up.
Oh, that's so much better. So that would be. Well, it's a natural 19 on one of them, which is a crit for him.
Yeah, let's go.
And then it ends up being a total of 30 for that one. And the other one would be 22 to hit.
22 will hit. JC's 20.
So they both hit the. Back, where's the dice? I don't. Oh my god, I didn't even have my dice out. I wasn't even ready, guys. It's been so
You'll always
long.
be ready to kick ass, Egan. Come on.
Right?
And that's a drop of a hat or a die.
Right? Where the fuck are my d10s, guys? In the bottom of my bag where they belong.
Waiting.
Waiting.
Yes.
Hiding away.
Oh, fuck. Legitimately, my d10s are missing, guys.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You can just slash roll 1d10 in the chat.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep being. Jesus. Or I guess one of them was a crit, huh? I forget how we.
Yeah,
It's
it's
been
a
so
double.
long,
It's a roll
guys.
again.
Yeah.
Roll the 1 dice again, though. Yeah.
Yeah, or that would technically be the crit. What you just rolled was the crit, so just roll again for your second attack.
Got it. It's been so long,
However
guys.
you want to slice it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Better.
Hey.
First, now I'm like in his face. That's a good place to be.
Right. Well, you're a little bit in his face because you have a reach weapon.
Yes. In fact, I am on the other side of the fireball. How about that?
Right. All right. It is Leah's turn. She is going to dash forward. Oh, I don't have her sheet up.
Can't be any less prepared than I was.
Oh, right. If I'm gonna, what's the word we use? Jaeger. That's right.
Jaeger, yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay, plus 10, 2 attacks. And this is an undead creature, so total drop a might, right? That's what paladins like to do against undead creatures.
Smite.
Smite.
Generally speaking.
Remember advantage if she's going against big boy.
Okay. So just with her attack bonuses, with the weapon damage of her spell or her things is enough to actually finish off both of these very weakened spectral warriors.
Hey.
I mean, she smited them both, but it was quick, efficient, and both of them dissipate like as he's about to command them to, like, run that one down, pointing at Elias. But in the 6 or so seconds since he dropped his Hellfire Orb, the battlefield has shifted significantly. And so remind me,
Live the
for
term
now.
he done goofed, but yes.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, like, he's going to mount onto his horse and then take a couple of swipes as he rides away.
If he
Is there
moves
something that-
if he moves even 1 foot while within my reach, I can attack him and make that 0.
Okay.
I can also opportunistically trip him.
Right. I would say that that is more likely your best bet, because he is going to if you I would say the pinning would work, except he's going to climb on a horse. But if you tripped him,
Yeah.
that
attack
being
the horse.
said,
If that 1 foot to get onto the horse is all I need to
right. Yeah, so go ahead and make the attack.
With advantage because he's still lit up. I needed that advantage. That's a natural 18, so and he needs to make a DC 18 dex save or fall on his face.
Okay. So you make an attack roll against him. Is that what happened?
Yes.
You were turned
rolled
away,
I rolled
Aaron.
sorry, I
Yeah.
rolled a natural 18 plus 12.
Okay, and what?
So
12. Yeah, that he wouldn't be able to parry that. Okay, DC 18.
Yep.
I'm gonna just roll it in chat.
Yep.
It's a straight roll because he does not have any dex mods.
Hey.
Okay.
God.
He falls on his face
So
and
you knock him
takes
down, And he still has movement, so he stands.
No,
back
he
up.
doesn't. No, he doesn't
Oh,
have any movement
okay.
anymore.
His movement is 0.
His movement
Then,
is 0.
All right, he is. You can see as he's like looking up at you very, very angrily. His blade, like bone white runes, begin lighting up with white fire across the blade as the whole thing becomes encased in a white hot fire. As he very angrily attacks you because he can't get anyone else.
Can I,
From
use my
prone because he can't stick up
reaction,
anymore.
Yeah, as your reaction.
Warding flare. So he has disadvantage.
He already has disadvantage because he's on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, he's prone.
Okay.
Yeah, he's prone.
Hold on.
Oh, also he takes let's see, 15 slashing and 9 radiant from that attack.
Okay. So the first attack. So actually, hold
Also,
on.
that is the very first time I've ever used opportunistic trip since I've gotten it.
In the entire campaign.
The entire campaign.
All right. So how much damage was it? You said?
15
Or
slashing.
was it just a trip?
15 slashing, 9 radiant, and the stripped.
Okay. So technically, well, no, you already used your reaction. To
Yes,
trip
I
him.
did.
So
I did.
you can't do Mage Slayer reaction
No, I
as
cannot.
he lights up his sword. So he makes his first attack.
Mm-hmm.
And that is he rolls an 18 and a 19.
Yep.
So he's going to hit you. And that is going to be let's see. So it's going to be 7 slashing damage.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold on. His strength modifier? No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. 12 slashing damage.
Okay.
18 necrotic damage.
Okay.
And as the fire that he lit up his sword with begins to engulf you, that is an extra 22 fire damage.
Okay.
As he searing smites you.
Okay.
And you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, hold on.
Also,
you're just on fire.
Yeah, was
you
that
make
both
con
attacks?
saves at the. That was his first attack.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Cool.
His second attack, he swings at you with disadvantage.
No, didn't I?
And he,
oh, right.
Say what?
Okay. Never mind. I forgot
ma-
he was doing disadvantage, so that was with disadvantage.
yes. What is your just he? It was a 2 and a 5, so he clearly missed. But what is your AC? Just so that I have a
18.
target. 18. Okay. He has a plus 11 to hit, so he needs 7s. No, 7s minus 1d4. No, he did not get. Did he get baned? Yes, they all got banned. All right. Okay. So that is a 5 on his third attack, and that was not a success.
Okay.
So he is on the ground swinging at you with his fiery sword, and you can hear him swearing angrily in common under his breath, something about an insult. Were ya?
Well, so I guess I will just sacred flame him because I don't
Sure.
know what else I'd do. So that's a DC 18 Dex save.
Okay. That is
And you roll the concentration for the
all right.
Yeah.
He succeeds on the deck save.
Okay, well that's a cantrip, so it doesn't.
Also, I think he's not fairy fired anymore because that was a lot of damage. And I rolled a 13
Oh,
plus
yeah.
8, but I'm pretty sure that's still
He succeeds on the dex save with Bane.
actually 13 plus 8.
It was a
21.
1 and he rolled a 20.
Okay, then yeah.
Still a lot of
Yep.
damage.
So that doesn't
He
do
barely succeeded, but he
Yeah.
succeeded.
Okay.
He's still
Then
prone, so you still get advantage.
Not on a spell.
I wouldn't get advantage on anything.
Oh no.
where
I was
he-
just meaning in general because I was like, okay, he's not fairy fired anymore because of concentration, but people still have advantage because prone for melee.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, anything where you would do would be at disadvantage
Yeah.
most likely because she's
I was just
pretty much
making
fully
sure
ranged.
people knew.
So okay. Since that didn't work, I know everyone's looking pretty rough. But since Purnell is in the middle of it, Wary is gonna do a healing word on Purnell, just give her a little bit of something. And she'll go ahead and do it at second level. Which is 2d4. It's a 4 to 2, so 6 plus 5, so that's 11 HP per now.
Okay.
And that is my turn.
No longer bloodied until I'm on fire.
All right, Aiden.
All right. I wanted to do something cool, but that kind of would just be adding insult to injury at this point.
I mean, that sounds like
that's pretty fucked. I mean, how messed up is he?
He is considerably messed up. But he's also prone, surrounded by all of the very strong members of your party.
Yeah,
Feel free to murder him and get some HP back.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty screwed. I'm just gonna walk up at this point. Been a while. Alright, take one swing, both hands. So that's a 27 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay.
He'd
Let's
parry it if
roll.
he could.
This, and I will Eldritch Smite him.
Eldritch Smash.
1, 2, 3, 6.
Like, fuck you in particular.
Yeah.
All right, that is 8. 15. 20. Well,
hold on, doing math.
Yeah, so 20 slashing damage, 5 necrotic damage, and 22 force damage.
Okay. How do you want to do that?
Hey.
The necrotic damage wasn't enough. Didn't do anything, but the rest
Yeah,
was
I
enough to
didn't think so.
finish him
But
off.
it's like, yeah, I may just like basically just walk up to him and just be like, dude, don't even try. And just
Yeah, so you basically just plunge
and I
your
get 20 health
blade
points back.
straight through the chest.
Hell yeah.
And you hear this sort of deep guttural scream that sort of gets higher and higher and higher and higher pitched. And like the dark, weird, bloody nightmare type force that is whinnying and sort of turns to flee, and for all of that, like that rise, then it's just the lights in the helm go out, and then it just goes silent, and the armor kind of just falls to the ground as the body within rapidly dissipates into smoke.
Looks already in. Just good to have you back. Ha! And it's on fire.
Oh yeah, you're still on fire.
Just notices that suddenly.
Right. So since it's not your turn yet,
I would help,
either Velis,
but it would
yeah.
probably just be frostbiting her. So
Velis and Elias
Yeah.
can take their action to douse
Yeah.
the flames before you have to make
Yeah.
another check yourself.
Yeah,
Help with
I'll
that.
come up on my turn,
Right.
like I'll pat out the flame. Yeah.
Yeah. Also help.
Throw a blanket over.
Yeah.
Stop, drop, and roll. All right.
Just that
Yeah.
that
The-
just
the-
God face. Here we go again.
The dark nightmare horse, as it's like the hoofbeats are pounding into the ground. They like go quiet as the horse itself also begins to just kind of dissipate into smoke. But you can hear that far off screech of that gloomstalker.
And then there's that asshole.
Oh yeah.
Not Glassstaff.
Yeah, it is not Glassstaff. As you basically completely punk a Death Knight into 1.5 rounds and its 3 spectral retainers.
It did a lot of damage to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was a whole thing, but like there wasn't any actual talking or conversation, or it was just like, hey, it saw some suspicious shit, so it started a fight that it thought it could win.
The sad thing is she wouldn't understand that. She wouldn't
Hopefully
understand you're
didn't
on
draw
fire.
attention to
Tried to
ourselves.
talk
but-
to it, but it hit us all really hard before she got a chance, and at that point, I didn't think she was going to take that risk.
Yep.
Yeah. It would have talked had it understood your potential strength. And at that point, it was already on its back fighting for its life, or on
Too
the
late.
life, and there wasn't a parlay. It didn't want to give you the satisfaction of surrender. It was he was a bitter man in life, and he was a bitter man in death as well. But
Slaughter is
with that,
equally
that
satisfying.
far off,
That's a weird way to say he was a punk.
yeah. So we'll wrap up here. As everyone picks themselves up, gets to their feet. No, everyone's on their feet already. Well, except maybe Pernell, because she, stop, drop, roll.
Burning,
Right.
She
Puts
wouldn't
out
have
the
rolled. She
fire.
wouldn't have rolled that much.
Yeah.
Like it's probably gross in here.
Oh, not gross.
No.
Just
dirty.
It's
dirty on the ground.
Yeah,
burning.
It is sort of
I
a
know,
churned,
but-
muddy path, but there is
Do you have
no like
blankets
weird,
around her?
gross, undead or aberrant stuff. It's just dead leaves, dead grasses, twigs, and stuff. But
It's just depressing, not gross.
Yeah. On fire.
That's fair.
Right, just depressing, not gross.
Still used to all those aberrations around, so those were gross.
I took no damage.
Which is good because it would have. You're almost
You
at
could
100.
have died.
I didn't get hit.
Yeah. If that thing really engaged someone who wasn't as sturdy as Pernell and wasn't on his back and
No.
pained,
He would have been
it would have been
fucked up.
it would have been trouble.
Yeah. No, Velas would have got fucked up, but he got smart and ran away.
Good boy.
He was a good boy.
We're so proud.
So proud of you.
Give him a
Very
cookie.
proud of your character growth.
Look at
It
that
won't
arc.
last, you
Look
guys.
at that
You know
arc.
this, right?
He did actual rogue things.
Yeah.
Not sure what that means. Actual rogue things is also standing directly in the middle of shit because you're an idiot.
No, that's just Bella's things.
Rogues can be dumb.
Yeah, I've played a very dumb rogue.
We know. Don't worry, we know.
We have extensive experience.
But he's our dumb rogue.
We love our dumb
Yes.
rogues. It's okay.
Yes. Good.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So in the resources channel,
Right.
there is the new web form. If you feel so inclined, drop a note. So the sort of stars and wishes models, it's just regular feedback would be good. It would help me figure out like what hits or misses during a session, so I can continue to bring things forward. But it's also an opportunity if people want to either anonymously or publicly give feedback for positive, constructive feedback for other players. If there's critical feedback, then that's conversations that can also be had. But anyways, no rush to do it. We're not going to be gathering together for a little bit. Again, I've got like 3 cons and such that I'm doing, and I think the last weekend of the month is.
What is this session? Because
This
it's
is session 115.
okay. We don't actually like track that very much, other than on
Right.
the splash page. So
Probably just put the date.
oh yeah, that's a good
The
idea.
date would work too. But I think, do we have October 22nd? We are good. So we have
Huzzah.
another session this month. Although, is your Maggie, are you not
I
sure what
don't.
your schedule is? You
Yeah,
don't know if
I
you're going
don't
to be
know
late.
yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of the the other main person that can close the customer service desk at work is out for surgery.
Is Rogue Trader the name of a band?
I'm not sure when she's gonna be back because
I just know
Solution
Rogue
is to
Trader is
just
like the
close everything
Warhammer
down.
surgery. So
game, the 40k game.
You could do that from home, right?
Yeah.
It looks like the 29th we might be able to
so I've been
do
closing more,
Netherdeep.
but
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think maybe we can hope to do Netherdeep at the end of the month.
Okay.
Since Brendan, you have a question mark for that one.
Yeah, I've got a con that weekend, and I don't know what the schedule is exactly yet, so I don't know if there's going to be anything that I want to do on Saturday night.
Well, it also just like game prep is a lot if you're doing other things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Actually,
if we're playing this
that's
game on the 22nd, then that would be the alternate week anyway.
Yeah.
right.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
Cool.
So I'm actually just going to advance.
Yeah.
Note.
But yeah, no game for the next couple weeks though.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
a lot
I know
of
I'm
busy.
not. Yeah.
Between lots of people unavailable.
The 15th is gonna be.
Yeah, Chad, I won't be
Well-
around most of next week because I'll be at TwitchCon, not
I mean,
from my computer.
the 8th is bad for one set of people, and the 15th is bad for a slightly different set of people.
Yeah.
So.
We'll figure it out.
I will be much closer to all of you next.
Not all of
next
us.
week, the week after that. Yeah, okay. All of you but one. I'll be further away from you for the first time.
When
No,
you're
I
normally
have a work conference in Little Rock on the week of the 10th.
Well, that is relatively close.
Relatively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna be on your side of the pond.
right? Or the pond.
Next
Yeah,
week,
yeah.
The pond.
The pond that
The
is
pond.
The
The
United
Great Plains.
the United States
pond,
pond, yes.
The Rocky Mountains.
I'm used to saying pond because I have so many fucking like British friends.
The pond has a
The country is a pond.
Yes, it is the pond country.
Isn't TwitchCon like always in San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like
Yeah, it's way south, I assume.
yeah. I mean that's you might as well be going from like Washington to Florida at that point. Washington.
That
DC
is
to
not
Florida.
true, but
It's not that far off. It's not that
Yeah, it's
far
like
off.
not that far off actually.
Really?
California's
Holy
big.
fuck.
It's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
quite that
California
bad.
is,
California's
is
not
literally
massive.
3/4 of the West
That's
Coast.
true.
So
It's just so weird to
It's-
think about. I've only been there like once in Anaheim, and it doesn't.
San Francisco to San Diego, because you
a
have to
very
go
long ride,
through things, is like easily if you're lucky, like an 8
It's fucking
to
traffic.
9 hour drive.
Yeah, it's not
Mm.
as bad as DC to Florida because DC
Yeah.
to Florida is a multi-day drive.
Yeah.
But and you could do San Francisco to San Diego in one day, but it's still a long ass drive.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's still like
Yeah.
450 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But a lot of
yeah.
that
It's
is
usually
on
like
the
an 11-hour
5
trip to
freeway
get to
where
like
it's just
DC to Atlanta.
Yeah, DC to
Mhm.
Tallahassee, which is, pretty close to the Florida-Georgia border. I could do in 2 days with the right stops, but I usually do in 3 just because the stops are easier with the 3-day trip. Like the
Yeah.
stops are more convenient on the 3-day schedule. But it can it can reasonably be done in 2 if you pick the right stopping points, but you can't do it in 1 unless you're either A, insane, or 2 have
Oh,
or
Australian
B
band.
have multiple
Okay.
drivers.
Best is
Oh, I
bad.
didn't know
So-
that. Okay, good to know.
Matt
Yeah,
says
from
it's
what I've
only
heard.
7.5 hours, but
I've heard
that's
that.
if you're
I've heard
lucky.
stories.
Yeah,
As I
You don't
said,
get any traffic going through LA.
insane.
our dad, who
Like,
decided
the
to
only
drive
band that was in
from
Doctor Who that I know
Orlando,
of are the Scissor
Florida, to
Sisters.
State College, Pennsylvania, in 1 day.
As I said, A, insane.
Now I know that is long.
That no, I remember my mom like calling me the next day and being like, "So your father decided to drive back in 1 day. We're never doing that again."
Yeah. I've done the TC to Tallahassee trip a bunch of times, and it's
Well,
it's,
I
it's,
shouldn't
a, little-
stream.
it's still pretty
We're
long,
just
and,
talking.
and Orlando's even further
When
down.
can I send y'all to?
Yeah.
And
We're
State
thinking about
College is even further up.
The State College is that's
Because DC
wonderful.
to Tallahassee is like
We're
12
still
and a
not
half
starting up.
hours, assuming
I told my
ideal
boyfriend for a
traffic,
while,
which
so
never happens.
I don't know.
Um,
I'll probably. I'm
which
just
is why I
gonna
say it can
spend
easily be done in 2
tomorrow
days if you
prepping
can
for
find the right
TwitchCon
stopping
and
points.
whatnot.
It's just there's like way better stopping
So I
points
should be
that
back
aren't
on
halfway.
Tuesday for Lying Fork. That might be like
Yeah, so
that
it is
and
it
Wednesday
is
D&D
less.
might be the only things I have left before
I mean,
my
it's
trip
450
on
miles,
Thursday.
459 miles.
still a lot.
But
So
the amount of time it takes to get from like northern side of California, and then you take I don't know if have any of you ever
That's ideal,
driven
too.
the 5 through California?
I've driven I've been on the road on parts of it because I have lots of family up in
Gotcha.
Northern California, and
Yeah.
we've driven parts of it. So
It's basically 300 miles of dirt,
yeah,
like just
Okay, I'm gonna send y'all to
dirt.
Hearn.
And I mean farms, but it's
So
there.
send 'em some
You
love.
go through like some rest stops, and that's it.
I should see you on Tuesday-ish. Yep.
Which
I'm
is
gonna
a
see you when
very
I see you.
different
That's a
drive
good way to put it.
than driving
So,
down the East Coast.
Until then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're driving like
Stay safe, stay healthy,
between
take care of yourself, take
Virginia
care
and
of each other.
Ohio, where you're just
There's
in mountains
nothing.
the entire way.
Or
I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud.